The smile on Su Kursen's face froze, but she quickly regained her composure and said defiantly, "What? Is it wrong that I've never seen so many supplies? You have no idea how miserable I was before. Now that I've latched onto a big shot, can't I be happy about it?" Before anyone could respond, the elevator door nearby opened, and a service worker stepped out. She wore a silver-gray uniform with a name tag, a professional smile on her face, and an air of respectful detachment. Yi spoke up at the right moment, addressing us. "Guests, the supplies have arrived. Where would you like them placed?" Lin Yu was stunned and instinctively asked, "Huh? Where are they?" "Yeah, where are they? We're big customers. You can't just swallow our goods." Su Kursen chimed in, her tone tinged with suspicion. She seemed to realize something and turned to Yi. "Yi, are the supplies with her? Let her come with me." After receiving a nod from Yi, she led the service worker into the RV. Not long after, they both emerged. The worker bowed slightly to us, turned, and stepped into the elevator, which closed and disappeared. She walked up to me and said softly, "Big brother Wu Di, the supplies are all stored away." Lin Yu immediately crowded around Lin Shi, asking curiously, "Big sister, really? Did that worker have a space wristband too? Wow, how big must her storage space be?" Su Kursen, now brimming with excitement, urged me, "Boss, can I go in and take a look?" Watching her eager expression, I couldn't help but marvel at how different she was from the timid, cautious person she had been when we first met. I nodded gently, then added, "Why don't you go help organize them?" Completely oblivious to the strange looks from the others, Su Kursen patted her chest and replied, "No problem, boss. Leave it to me. Sister Su, I'll go with you." Su Wanwan, seeing Su Kursen's overconfident and slightly reckless attitude, and remembering how it had taken the three of them 2 full days to organize the previous batch of supplies, couldn't help but feel a bit worried. "No need, I've got this," Su Kursen said confidently, waving her hand. "I can't just be a freeloader. I can handle this little task." With that, she hurried toward the domain space. Lin Shi, who had opened her mouth to intervene, silently closed it again. After a moment of silence, she sighed softly and looked at me. "Big brother Wu Di, I'll go help her." In the end, the three of them entered the domain space to help Su Kursen organize the mountain of supplies. I returned to the driver's seat, my fingers tapping the steering wheel unconsciously as I pondered the crises we might face tomorrow. I had previously been convinced that my strength surpassed all other survivors and that I could handle any emergency. However, after the attack by the sea-splitting kraken, I realized that some crises couldn't be solved by brute force alone. There were too many unknown risks lurking in the shadows. Maybe it's just that I'm not strong enough. If I were even stronger, perhaps these troubles wouldn't be issues at all. With that thought, I opened my personal attribute panel. Name: Wu Di. Physique: 1668. Spirit: 30. Abilities: Shooting Mastery, Steel Body, Combat Grandmaster. Note: mental control is insufficient to fully command current physical strength. How exactly am I supposed to improve my spirit? I frowned at the stagnant attribute. Since Su Kursen joined the team, my physique had increased again, but my spirit remained at 30, bolstered only by the life and death pact. It hadn't budged, leaving me unable to fully master my current physical strength, which inevitably caused a flicker of anxiety. Time passed in my contemplation, and the others did not emerge from the domain space. It wasn't until 5 a.m. the next morning that the entrance to the domain space finally showed activity, and Lin Shi, Lin Yu, and Su Wanwan emerged one after another. I looked up and scanned them. Lin Shi and Su Wanwan looked calm, and Lin Yu still had a lingering smile, but Su Kursen looked exhausted, her eyes filled with a weariness and a look of unmistakable resentment directed at me. Lin Yu ran over to me, covering her mouth to stifle a laugh. "Big brother Wu Di, you have no idea." When we went in, seeing Sister Su staring at that mountain of supplies, it was hilarious, haha. As soon as Lin Yu finished, Su Kursen's voice came through gritted teeth. "Boss, thank you so much for arranging such a great task for me. I just thought you were interested in the supplies," I said with an awkward laugh. I had only acted on a whim yesterday, never expecting Su Kursen to be so resentful. Fearing she might continue, I quickly changed the subject, my tone turning serious. Let's eat quickly. We don't know what kind of situation we'll face today, so we need to be prepared. After everyone finished breakfast and tidied up, I took the driver's seat. Lin Yu sat in the passenger seat as usual, while Lin Shi, Su Kersen, and Su Wanwan sat on the sofa by the coffee table. Everyone waited silently for 6 a.m., the atmosphere quiet and tense. Time ticked away, and at exactly 6 a.m., a familiar white light appeared, instantly enveloping the entire RV. As the light faded, the familiar system interface popped up. Ding! Congratulations to all survivors for completing the novice period. You are now entering a one-day safe dungeon, worry-free supply line. Ding! Each survivor has been assigned a dedicated mirror unit. This unit will record your driving data in real time and conduct a reproduction test in 5 seconds. Please maintain a constant speed. Ding! If the mirror unit impacts your vehicle, it will trigger a destruction effect, ignoring all vehicle defenses. Ding! Worry-free supply line begins in 10 seconds. A countdown appeared on the screen. 10, 9, 8. I reacted immediately, ordering into the air. Xiaoxi, maintain a steady speed of 60. Understood, Commander. With Xiaoxi's clear confirmation, the RV started up and moved forward steadily. Lin Shi and the others stood up and gathered around the driver's seat, watching the surroundings vigilantly. Before they could clearly see the environment, Xiaoxi's voice sounded again. Commander, an unknown anomaly detected 50 meters behind us. Everyone looked through the side windows, their expressions turning guarded. I quickly checked the rearview mirror. We were driving on a narrow mountain highway, flanked by dense forest that severely obstructed our view. 50 meters behind us, a pitch-black RV was following steadily. It had no markings, but its Titan ram and roof-mounted autocannon were identical to ours. From a distance, it looked like a shadow cast by our own vehicle, exuding an eerie sense of oppression. Lin Yu leaned against the passenger window, staring at the black RV in the mirror. Her voice was tinged with fear and curiosity. Big Brother Wu Di, is that the mirror unit the system mentioned? It looks so creepy. Su Kersen, despite her exhaustion, forced herself to focus. It looks terrifying, like a ghost. But didn't the system say this was a safe dungeon? There shouldn't be any danger, right? She glanced at the mirror, her voice lacking conviction. My expression was grim. I didn't know what would trigger an impact, but the system had warned that the mirror unit ignored vehicle defenses. I couldn't help but worry. Could my red-quality primordial construct armor withstand a collision? Especially since the system had just announced the end of the novice period, a chill ran down my spine. This survival game was far more dangerous than I had imagined. If 2/3 of humanity had been eliminated during the novice period alone, what awaited us next? Steadying myself, I asked, Xiaoxi, can you detect anything specific about that vehicle behind us? Commander, the vehicle behind maintains a constant 50-meter distance and matches our speed. No other information can be detected. Lin Shi frowned in thought. Big Brother Wu Di, could the reproduction test mean that it perfectly copies our actions and stays in the same state as us? Just then, Su Wanwan said, Big Brother Wu Di, look at the communication channel. Everyone is talking about this. Everyone has a ghost car following them. I opened the communication channel. The screen was flooded with messages. Can someone tell me what the hell this car following me is? It's been 50 meters behind me, and I can't shake it. Is everyone seeing a vehicle identical to their own? Has anyone stopped to check it out? This thing is stalking me like a ghost. Didn't they say this was a safe dungeon? Is no one concerned that we just finished the novice period? Does anyone know if this thing attacks? It's creeping me out. Where's the guy at the top of the vehicle leaderboard? Say something. Forget the novice period. Surviving is what matters. This must be the mirror unit the system mentioned. It copies our every move, but what does it want? Safe dungeon? This is a horror dungeon. Being followed by this thing is so uncomfortable. Does any expert know how to break this? Waiting online, urgent. I scanned the messages quickly. The key information seemed to be that all survivors had a ghost car 50 meters behind them. No matter how fast they drove, it matched their speed perfectly, never falling behind and never closing the gap. Lin Shi, having read some of the messages, added, Big Brother Wu Di, this ghost car seems to be locked onto each person's vehicle. Su Kursen's eyes lit up. Then can't we just drive slowly? As long as we don't accelerate or stop, it will just follow along slowly. If it doesn't ram us, we'll be fine, right? I looked at Su Kursen. Despite her recent odd behavior, she had a point. With no better options, we had to follow this logic for now. I pondered for a moment and ordered, Xiaoxi, keep a close watch on the ghost car. Notify me immediately if it shows any change. Understood, Commander. Real-time monitoring activated. I then turned to Lin Shi and the others. Keep an eye on the communication channel. If anyone reports new developments, tell me immediately. I knew that in the face of the unknown, caution was key. There would always be impatient survivors willing to test the limits. If I could learn the rules of this ghost car from their mistakes, we wouldn't be left helpless. But I didn't expect others to make mistakes so quickly. Less than half an hour into our steady drive, the messages in the channel became increasingly chaotic. Linyu was the first to notice. Big Brother Wu Di, look at the channel. Many players are in trouble. They say the ghost car rammed them. Su Kursen added, yeah, boss. People are saying that as soon as they stopped, the ghost car accelerated and rammed them before they could react. Who knows if they're even still alive? I saw the messages and frowned. Stopping triggers an impact? What does that mean? Does it mean that if the vehicle was moving 5 seconds ago, you can't stop for more than 5 seconds? Su Wanwan whispered. Could it be like the previous dungeons? Once we stop, danger is triggered? Didn't the monsters we encountered before only appear after we stopped? I looked through the rearview mirror at the black RV. It remained 50 meters behind, its dark frame looking particularly eerie on the road. After a moment of thought, I had a plan. I could figure out the rules of the ghost car with a little testing. I turned away from the mirror and ordered, Xiaoxi, smoothly reduce speed to 50, then return to 60. Monitor the speed of the vehicle behind us closely throughout. Understood, Commander. Executing. Xiaoxi's voice responded. The RV slowed down and then accelerated back to speed under Xiaoxi's control. The entire test took about 10 seconds. During the test, I kept my eyes glued to the mirror. I clearly saw that shortly after we began to slow down, the black ghost car accelerated to close the distance. Once we returned to 60 kilometers per hour, it slowed down and returned to the 50-meter mark, maintaining synchronization. Xiaoxi, report the speed changes of the vehicle behind. Commander, 5 seconds after we reduced speed, the ghost car accelerated, closing the distance to 40 meters. Once we resumed our speed, it decelerated and adjusted. It is currently back to synchronized driving at a stable 50-meter distance. No other anomalies. Xiaoxi reported the data precisely. As soon as Xiaoxi finished, Su Kursen couldn't help but speak, her tone a mix of confusion and triumph. Isn't it just doing the opposite? It's like a 5-second delay. When we slow down, it speeds up. When we speed up, it slows down. How could the others not figure out such a simple rule? Lin Shi, Su Wanwan, and Lin Yu all turned to look at her, their expressions filled with surprise. Su Kursen felt uncomfortable under our gaze. She frowned and asked, "What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? Why are you all looking at me like that? I'm not an idiot. Surely I can see through a simple pattern like this." Lin Yu didn't overthink it. She looked at Su Kursen with pure admiration. "Sister Su, you're amazing. You figured out the pattern so quickly." Su Kursen immediately shed her embarrassment, put on a smug expression, and lifted her chin. Of course, if your sister Su didn't have some skills, how could I have survived in this survival world until now? We were only able to capture these subtle changes in speed because of Xiaoxi's precise detection and radar assistance. Others without these aids likely wouldn't have noticed. Lin, she said slowly, her tone calm as she explained. Su Wanwan nodded gently from the side, echoing Lin Shi's words with a look of agreement in her eyes. Lin Yu turned to me. Brother Wu Di, should we tell the others in the communication channel about this discovery? I pondered for a moment and gave a slow nod. Sure, go ahead and post it in the communication channel. Remember, only say it's our hypothesis. Do not reveal anything about Xiaoxi or the radar, and don't mention any other unnecessary information. My reasoning was simple. We had only figured out this basic rule so far, and it was unknown if there would be other variables later. Even though other people's misfortunes wouldn't affect me, I didn't mind sharing a reminder that was within my power to give. Hearing this, Su Kurson let out a sigh of relief and quickly asked, "Does that mean we're out of danger now?" "It's so simple. If we just keep driving at a constant speed, without slowing down or speeding up, won't everything be fine?" Lin Shi, Lin Yu, and Su Wanwan all nodded in agreement, their faces showing a sense of relief. I also felt that must be the case. Since it was a safe dungeon, the difficulty was naturally limited. As long as we strictly followed this rule and maintained a constant speed, we could basically avoid all danger. I nodded slightly. For now, there shouldn't be any danger. Sister Su, let's go. We need to organize the supplies. There's still quite a bit left to tidy up, Su Wanwan said gently. Su Kurson, who had just been looking relaxed, saw her face fall at the mention of organizing supplies. She scrambled for an excuse. How about I stay here and keep watch? In case there's any sudden situation, I can notify everyone in time. But before she could finish, Lin Shi and Su Wanwan grabbed her by either arm and dragged her into the domain space without further ado, leaving behind only a helpless wail. Lin Yu remained in the passenger seat, scrolling through the communication channel, and said to me, "Brother Wu Di, a lot of people are complaining now. They say they shouldn't have accelerated, and now they can't slow down even if they want to." Suddenly, as if thinking of something, she looked up at me with wide eyes. "Brother Wu Di, what are they supposed to do if they're driving alone and can't stop for the whole day?" I didn't react immediately, stunned for a moment. "What do you mean?" Lin Yu stammered. "I mean, don't they need to eat or use the bathroom? They can't just sit in the driver's seat forever, right?" As soon as she finished, she noticed me looking at her with a strange expression. She immediately felt embarrassed, lowered her head, and whispered in defense, I just thought of it suddenly." After that, she pretended to focus on the communication channel, though her ears turned quietly red. The cabin fell into silence, and the RV continued to move steadily at 60 kilometers per hour. "Brother Wu Di, the communication channel says there's a supply point ahead, and the supplies are free." A moment later, Lin Yu looked up and said to me with a smile. She added, "It's such a pity. It seems like these people are too afraid to stop, so they can only watch the supply point pass them by." She looked at me again and asked, "Brother Wu Di, do you think we should take them?" I had already noticed the content in the communication channel. I had been monitoring the channel's activity, hoping to find other useful discoveries. "Let's see how it goes first. Don't take the risk," I said in a steady tone. An hour later, Xiao Shi's voice broke the silence in the cabin again. "Commander, a special structure has been detected 1,000 meters ahead. Should we slow down?" The moment I heard Xiao Shi's prompt, I ordered, "Maintain speed. Do not stop." I looked ahead. As the RV drew closer, I finally saw a simple sign standing by the side of the road. The wooden board was rough, with 5 large characters written in black paint. "Free supply point." As the RV drove past the supply point, I clearly saw a pile of basic materials on the table, roughly 10 units of each type, along with a few bottles of water and packaged food. Lin Yu excitedly tugged on my sleeve. "Brother Wu Di, did you see that? It really is free." I looked toward the supply point and muttered to myself, "Is this what the worry-free supply line means?" Lin Yu heard me and pouted. "Brother Wu Di, this is too stingy. There are so few supplies." She then suggested, "Brother Wu Di, let's open the door and grab whatever we can as we pass by. I see people in the communication channel talking about doing that. Let's see what we encounter at the next supply point." I shook my head. I didn't want to take risks right now. After all, the situation was still unknown, and these supplies weren't worth gambling our safety over. The RV continued for about another half hour when Lin Yu suddenly pointed at the communication channel, excited. "Brother Wu Di, look." It seems a group of people drove past a supply point at low speed, jumped out to grab the supplies, and nothing happened. Her eyes lit up as she pleaded, "When we get to the next supply point, I'll open the door and grab some too. It'll definitely be fine. No rush for now. Let's see what we encounter at the next one." I remained cautious. All right." Lin Yu looked disappointed. Ever since her physical stats had improved, she had been wanting a chance to show off, but the right opportunity never came. The RV continued to move steadily, and the cabin fell silent again. When the time reached 9:19, Xiao Shi's voice sounded again. "Commander, a supply point has been detected 1,000 meters ahead." continuing at 60 kilometers per hour. Ah, Brother Wu Di, look, another supply point. Lin Yu immediately perked up and pointed ahead. After the RV drove past the supply point, I noticed that the quantity of free supplies this time was significantly higher than the first, roughly 20 units of each basic material, and even the food and water were more abundant than before. Lin Yu noticed this too and asked curiously, Brother Wu Di, do you think the supplies at the following points will keep increasing? I understood Lin Yu's thoughts. To be honest, if the subsequent supply points kept laying out supplies like this, at our current speed, we could indeed grab some. With my own physical stats, I could even jump out, collect the supplies, and catch up to the RV. I asked into the air. Shaoxi, were the two supply points we just passed about 100 kilometers apart? Yes, Commander. After departing today, we encountered the first supply point after 100 kilometers and the second after another 100 kilometers. Shaoxi reported the data precisely. Lin Yu seized the opportunity and pleaded again. Brother Wu Di, let me try at the next one. I pondered for a moment and gave a slight nod, not objecting. I also wanted to confirm if this method was feasible. As long as we weren't hit by the ghost car behind us, it shouldn't trigger any danger. The RV continued steadily. As we neared the next 100 kilometers mark, Lin Yu couldn't contain her excitement. She walked quickly to the door, pulled it open, and turned to shout at me in the driver's seat. Brother Wu Di, I'm ready. Her tone was full of anticipation, her hands gripping the door frame tightly. As soon as she finished speaking, Shaoxi's prompt arrived right on time. Commander, a supply point has been detected 1,000 meters ahead. I looked ahead, and the familiar free supply point sign became clear. As the RV approached, I could see that the supplies on the table were even more abundant than the last time, and the height of the piles had clearly increased. I furrowed my brow, keeping my eyes on the ghost car in the rearview mirror while warning in a low voice, be careful. Don't force it. Take what you can, safety first. I kept my gaze locked outside, alert to any movement from behind. As the RV slowly passed the supply point, Lin Yu gripped the door frame with one hand to steady herself, reached out with the other, made a quick grab, pulled her hand back, and slammed the door shut. The entire sequence was performed in one fluid motion. She ran over to me, opened her palm, and a cold glowing metal block lay there. Her tone was a mix of annoyance and reluctance. Brother Wu Di, I tried to put all the supplies into my personal space, but it didn't work at all. I could only get this one piece. I glanced at the metal block and said calmly, in this survival game, there's never such a thing as a free lunch. It doesn't matter if you didn't get them all, no need to dwell on it. Lin Yu pouted, walked back to the passenger seat, and muttered, but there were so many resources, and I could only take one. It's such a waste. After a pause, she looked up at me with anticipation. Brother Wu Di, do you think blueprints will appear at the later supply points? Lin Yu's words made me ponder. I looked at the road ahead, thinking to myself, since the quantity of supplies at the points kept increasing, perhaps rare resources would appear later, like the quantum primordial matter I was in desperate need of. As for my previous idea of relying on speed to jump out and grab everything before returning to the car, it didn't seem feasible now. If I were caught by the ghost car behind, there was no telling what the consequences would be. Before I could sort out my thoughts, Lin Shi, Su Kerson, and Su Wanwan emerged from the domain space. As soon as Su Kerson came out, she hurried over to the driver's seat and asked eagerly, Boss, did we encounter a supply point? Everyone in the communication channel is talking about free supplies. Did you go down and grab any? She turned to look at Lin Yu, her eyes bright. Little Yu, did you get any supplies? I saw so many people talking about it in the channel. I looked at Su Kerson's eager expression and asked with a strange look, weren't you supposed to be organizing the supplies in the domain space? Why were you still staring at the communication channel? Su Kerson lifted her chin righteously, her tone full of justification. I just joined the team, and I want to help out more. I was organizing supplies while keeping an eye on the communication channel. I wasn't slacking off at all. Lin Yu immediately held up the metal block and said excitedly, Sister Su, I got one, but it's only 1 unit of metal. There were so many resources, but I could only take one. It's such a pity, Su Kerson said repeatedly. I saw in the communication channel that everyone says free supplies are rare. This survival game is finally being generous for once. The ones you're talking about are all moving at a snail's pace. They don't dare take much. Those who accelerated from the start can only watch these resources pass them by. Lin Shi's voice came from behind, calm and knowing. Su Wanwan also stepped forward, looking worried. Brother Wu Di, I see in the communication channel that people are saying they can't reach those who dared to stop and grab supplies. Don't worry. Our demand for basic resources isn't that high. We'll take what we can while ensuring safety. No need to force it. I interrupted her, my tone steady. Seeing that I was confident, Su Wanwan felt relieved and nodded gently. All right, Brother Wu Di. Cici and I are going to cook. We'll call you when it's ready. Watching them turn and leave, Su Kursin couldn't help but sigh. Boss, I find it so comfortable here. No need to worry about danger, and someone else cooks. If we could build a house in the domain space and put in some furniture, it would be exactly like the real world. Lin Yu immediately chimed in, looking regretful. Sister Su, you think so too? I've been looking for a long time, but I haven't found any materials or blueprints for building a house. I wonder if there are any house or furniture blueprints. Su Kursin's eyes lit up. She turned to me and said excitedly, Boss, are you planning to build a house in the domain space too? Wow, isn't this like the legendary farming space? She then looked at me with a strange expression, teasing, Boss, could you be some kind of child of destiny? Your strength is so much higher than everyone else's. You have such a useful domain space, and you're surrounded by beauties like us. You're basically the standard protagonist template. I looked at Su Kursin's wild imagination and rubbed my temples helplessly, cutting her off. All right, stop thinking about such nonsense. Since you're so free, you can stay here and keep watch until tomorrow morning. After everyone finished eating and tidied up, they gathered around the driver's cabin. It was nearly 12 o'clock, and everyone was curious to see what the next supply point would look like. Lin Yu leaned toward the driver's seat, her tone worried. Brother Wu Di, a lot of people in the communication channel say there will be curves ahead. If we keep this speed, will there be any danger? Before she could finish, Xiaoxi's voice suddenly sounded in the cabin. Commander, a change in the road surface has been detected 1,000 meters ahead. As the RV moved forward, everyone looked through the windows. The straight, flat road suddenly turned into a winding mountain path not far ahead. The road remained 2 lanes wide, narrow and smooth, with a steep cliff wall on the left and a bottomless abyss on the right, shrouded in clouds and mist, revealing a deadly tension. Seeing the scene before them, everyone's expressions changed, and the atmosphere in the cabin became tense. Su Kursin was the first to speak, her tone full of shock and panic. Holy crap, this road is terrifying. Isn't this a death trap? Such a narrow curve, with a cliff wall on one side and an abyss on the other, and poor visibility. One wrong move, and we're falling off. I remained calm and asked into the air, Xiaoxi, can we maintain our current speed and pass through this curve safely? Commander, according to real-time radar data, the current curve can support a maximum speed of 100 kilometers per hour, and we can precisely maintain our speed through the curve to ensure safety. Commander, do you need to adjust the current speed? Maintain the current speed. No adjustments needed. Hearing Xiaoxi's report and my order, Lin Shi, Lin Yu, and Su Wanwan felt their hearts settle, and the tension on their faces eased significantly. Lin Yu said to the air with admiration, Xiaoxi, you're amazing. If it were me driving, let alone maintaining speed, I wouldn't even be able to hold the steering wheel steady, let alone drive this fast. Thank you for the compliment, Vice Commander. Su Kursin's eyes lit up, and she said with surprise, Wow, this artificial intelligence is too powerful. With Xiaoxi here, does that mean we don't have to worry about danger at all today? She suddenly paused, turned to look at Lin Yu with confusion, and asked, Wait, little Yu, why does Xiaoxi call you Vice Commander? You have that title? Lin Yu was about to explain, but was stopped by a look from Lin Shi. She glanced at me, seeing that I was focused on the rearview mirror and the situation outside, so she closed her mouth and said nothing more. Everyone's eyes were on Lin Yu, except for me, who remained focused on the ghost car in the rearview mirror. Just then, the RV slowly turned left. Everyone in the cabin subconsciously looked at the rearview mirror. 5 seconds after the RV turned, The ghost car behind also slowly moved to the right. Eerily, half of its body was suspended over the edge of the abyss on the right, its wheels completely off the road, yet it seemed unaffected by gravity, following steadily behind the RV without the slightest sway or sign of falling, maintaining a distance of 50 meters. Not until the RV successfully cleared the curve and returned to the middle of the road did the ghost car slowly move to the left, retreating from the edge of the abyss and settling back into the middle of the road, still following at a constant speed of 50 meters behind, just as before, with no abnormalities. Sue Curson looked at the scene in the rearview mirror and pouted, her tone relaxing. What's so interesting about that? It's just following us, right? As long as we keep our speed constant, no matter how strange it is, it can't hit us. No need to be so nervous. Linyu nodded repeatedly, echoing. Yeah, I think Sister Sue is absolutely right. With Xiaoxi here, we definitely won't be in any danger. Sue Curson saw Lin Yu's agreement and looked smug, turning to her with a look of approval, as if to say, "You understand me." I withdrew my gaze, looking at the ghost car still following steadily in the rearview mirror. I already knew, with Xiaoxi's precise control, our current driving was absolutely safe. There was no need to worry excessively about the ghost car's anomalies, nor was there any need to take risks for supplies. I turned to the people gathered around the driver's cabin and said in a steady tone, "You don't need to stay here all the time. With Xiaoxi in control, there won't be any crisis. Why don't you check the communication channel and see if anyone is selling talent fragments or blueprints? Those are the keys to truly improving our strength." After a pause, I added, "Also, keep an eye out to see if you can find materials like quantum primordial matter." Sue Curson frowned, then relaxed, pointing to the passenger seat. "Didn't you tell me to stay here and keep watch today? I'll sit here, keep watch, and help you monitor the communication channel." With that, she walked over and sat in the passenger seat. Lin Yu also quickly said, "Brother Wu Di, when we encounter the next supply point, I still want to grab supplies, so I'll stay here and keep you company." She stood by the driver's cabin, eyes fixed on the road ahead, not moving an inch. Lin Shi and Su Wanwan exchanged a look, seeing the mutual understanding in each other's eyes. They didn't say anything more and silently turned to sit on the sofa at the back of the cabin, focusing on the information in the communication channel. The RV traveled steadily along the winding mountain path, curve after curve, with the view constantly restricted by dense forests and steep cliff walls. Seeing that the next supply point was getting closer, Lin Yu could no longer contain her anticipation. She rushed to the door, pulled it open, and turned to shout at me, "Brother Wu Di, I'm ready." As soon as she finished, Xiaoxi's prompt sounded in the cabin right on time. "Commander, a supply point has been detected 1,000 meters ahead." The RV continued to roll forward, and soon, that familiar, makeshift, free supply point sign appeared by the roadside. I looked out into the distance, and with just one glance, I noticed something amiss. The supplies on the table at this supply point were far scarcer than at the previous ones, scattered about in a way that looked particularly pathetic. Just as the RV slowly drew near, my gaze was suddenly locked onto one specific item. It was a piece of paper, folded neatly, standing out starkly against the mess of basic materials. It was clearly a blueprint. My heart skipped a beat, and just as I was about to alert Lin Yu, the young girl had already shouted out first, "Brother Wu Di, look! Is that a blueprint?" Lin Yu pointed toward the supply point table, her voice filled with irrepressible surprise. The moment the RV brushed past the supply point, Lin Yu reached out her wrist, grabbed the blueprint with a clean, swift motion, and after closing the door, she turned back excitedly. "Brother Wu Di, I got it." Sue Curson immediately leaned over from the passenger seat, looking at her with a face full of astonishment. "Not bad. You've got quick reflexes." Lin Yu lifted her chin triumphantly, her small face full of pride. "Of course. Someone like you. I could take on a whole group of you, believe it or not." Sue Curson was choked up by the remark and fell into deep thought instead. After spending the last 2 days together, she gradually realized that everyone in this team before her seemed quite extraordinary. Lin Yu didn't pay attention to her distraction. She hurried to my side and handed over the blueprint, her tone urgent. "Brother Wu Di, take a look. Is this blueprint useful?" I took the blueprint and checked its attributes. Self-priming filtering gas mask blueprint. Blue grade utilizes a dual purification mechanism of physical interception plus chemical adsorption. The built-in impregnated activated carbon layer efficiently filters toxic gases, vapors, and fine dust particles. Protection duration is affected by pollutant concentration, environmental temperature/humidity, and the user's breathing rate. The standard effective time is 30 minutes to 4 hours. If an odor is detected or breathing resistance increases sharply, it indicates the filter cartridge is saturated and ineffective. Permanently unlocks the synthesis recipe upon use. Crafting requirements: rubber ×3, plastic ×3, glass ×1, charcoal ×1. After reading the attributes, my brows furrowed involuntarily. Seeing this, the others immediately gathered around. Boss, what's wrong? Is this blueprint no good? Sue Curson asked first, her face full of confusion. I didn't say much and directly displayed the blueprint's attributes to everyone. Sue Curson leaned in to look and exclaimed, "Hey, new materials again. What on earth is charcoal?" Lin Yu also scratched her head, looking blank. This charcoal, it's not the kind I'm thinking of, right? But we've never seen it before. Where are we supposed to get it? Su Wanwan stared at the blueprint and spoke softly. Brother Wu Di, this blueprint is so special. It actually unlocks the recipe permanently, just like the one from that vehicle modification book earlier. Lin Shi stood to the side, her brows slightly furrowed, lost in thought, and remained silent. I looked up at everyone, my tone deepening. Don't you all think the appearance of this blueprint is quite suspicious? Sue Curson was stunned and replied casually. What's suspicious about it? Can it be weirder than you, boss? Seeing everyone looking at her with strange expressions, she quickly waved her hands to explain. I didn't mean it like that. I meant that your RV and equipment, their functions are so outrageous they don't seem like normal survival items. At this moment, Lin Shi finally spoke slowly, her tone calm but hitting the nail on the head. Brother Wu Di is worried that the environment we are about to face requires a gas mask, right? I nodded slightly, not making any further guesses. Let's not think about it for now. We'll know when we encounter it. Keep an eye on the communication channel and ask around about how to obtain charcoal. After the discussion, everyone returned to their seats. Lin Yu, who couldn't sit still, had her eyes glued to Sue Curson in the passenger seat. Before long, she leaned over stealthily, her voice lowered to a whisper, her eyes full of curiosity. Sister Sue, when you were alone before, did you ever come across equipment blueprints like this? Sue Curson shook her head gently, her tone tinged with helplessness. Not at all. The only decent thing I had was that cloud-piercing bow, and I even traded that with the boss. Ah. Lin Yu's eyes lit up, filled with surprise and wonder. She leaned in even closer, her shoulder almost touching Sue Curson's, her tone urgent and curious. Sister Sue, why haven't you told us about this? Tell me more, tell me more. The two of them huddled together, whispering, their chatter occasionally punctuated by Lin Yu's low gasps of amazement, gently breaking the silence inside the cabin. On the other side, I frowned, my thoughts swirling. Could this blueprint be a premonition of the crisis to come? Is this supply line, from beginning to end, preparing us for unknown situations ahead? I remained silent for a moment, ultimately suppressing the speculation in my heart. No matter what the crisis is, it will come when it comes. Rather than dwelling on guesses and adding to my worries, it is better to be fully prepared in advance. The RV continued to travel steadily along the winding mountain roads. The shadows of the forest shifted continuously with the movement of the vehicle, and in the blink of an eye, it was around 2:20 p.m. Xiaoxi's notification sounded in the cabin again. Commander, a supply point has been detected 1,000 meters ahead. Lin Yu was already poised and ready. Hearing the prompt, she immediately moved to the door. As the RV slowly approached the supply point, she reacted with lightning speed, agilely reaching out to grab the blueprint from the table before pulling back into the vehicle, successfully retrieving the new blueprint. Everyone gathered around immediately, their eyes fixed on the attribute panel that popped up. Anti-corrosion protective suit, blue grade made of Teflon-coated composite fiber. It can resist erosion from strong acids, strong alkalis, and organic solvents. Service life is affected by environment and maintenance. Protective performance degrades when discoloration, embrittlement, or cracking occurs. Permanently unlocks the synthesis recipe upon use. Crafting requirements: metal block 1, plastic 2, rubber 2. After reading the blueprint, the cabin fell into silence again, even breathing becoming faint. 2 consecutive protective-type blueprints were like small stones thrown into everyone's hearts, stirring up a faint sense of unease. No one discussed it further. They simply returned to their seats. Their expressions varied. I gripped the blueprint tightly, the doubt in my heart growing heavier. Will the next ones be protective blueprints too? Time ticked by, and by around 4 p.m., Xiaoxi's notification arrived right on schedule. Linyu was already standing by the door out of habit, her hands gripping the frame, her eyes fixed intently ahead. As soon as the RV approached the supply point, she agilely reached out, snatched the blueprint, and ran back to my side with unconcealable joy. Brother Wu Di, this one isn't a protective blueprint. Lin Shi, Su Kersin, and Su Wanwan immediately gathered around, their eyes fixed on the blueprint. Bracelet Function Expansion Blueprint. Special item unlocks the system wristband team function upon use. All team members can enable vehicle positioning linkage to view vehicle location, distance, and operating status in real time. Su Wanwan frowned slightly and spoke softly, her tone filled with confusion. Brother Wu Di, these blueprints today are so strange. First the gas mask, then the anti-corrosion suit, and now vehicle positioning. Lin Yu's eyes lit up, her tone filled with irrepressible excitement, her voice rising slightly. Brother Wu Di, are we going out on a mission soon? Otherwise, why would we need this positioning linkage function? It wasn't just Lin Yu. Su Kersin, Su Wanwan, and Lin Shi also nodded subconsciously. Seeing this bracelet expansion blueprint, the first thing everyone thought of was the possibility of needing to go out. After all, while staying in the safe RV, there was no need for such real-time positioning linkage. I remained calm and spoke slowly. Don't think too much. Even if we really need to go out, with our strength, there's no need to worry. Hearing my words, Lin Shi and the others looked calm. After all, under the life and death bond, their strength had long since surpassed that of normal humans. Only Su Kersin, unaware of the reason, remained worried. Time reached 5:39 p.m. Lin Yu was already standing by the door, her hands gripping the frame tightly, her body leaning forward slightly, her eyes fixed on the road ahead, not even daring to blink for fear of missing the supply point. Xiaoxi's notification had just finished. Commander, a supply point detected 1,000 meters ahead. I looked out into the distance, my gaze instantly locking onto an item on the supply point table that was emitting a faint glow. It was a talent fragment. Lin Yu, prioritize the talent fragment. Lin Yu understood immediately. As the RV approached, she agilely reached out, grabbed the talent fragment, and quickly pulled back into the vehicle, closing the door. Inside the cabin, I looked at the glowing talent fragment in Lin Yu's hand, thinking to myself, I never expected this supply point to hide such a surprise. Lin Yu walked up to me, her small face full of pride. Brother Wu Di, look, am I not amazing? I looked at the little head leaning in front of me and reached out to gently pat her hair. Well done. Lin Yu immediately giggled. At this moment, Lin Shi, who was busy in the kitchen, spoke without looking up. If you couldn't even do that well, it would be a waste of the good things Brother Wu Di feeds you. The smile on Lin Yu's face froze instantly. Just as she was about to retort, Su Kersin, who was nearby, leaned in with a confused face. What good things? How come I don't know about them? Hearing Lin Shi's words, I suddenly remembered the last unit of purple-grade monster meat I had enhanced yesterday, and I immediately took it out from my personal space and handed it over. I'm giving you an extra meal today. Su Kersin glanced at the monster meat, not paying much attention, and took it while muttering, You didn't give me supplements when I was injured before. Why give them now that I'm all better? Besides, even if I were to supplement, I wouldn't eat that kind of weird monster meat. As she spoke, she subconsciously pulled up the attribute panel. The moment she saw the text, her mouth dropped open, and she froze in place, unable to recover for a long time. The next second, Su Kersin jumped up, rushed to me in excitement, and was about to hug me. Boss, I love you to death. I quickly reached out to hold her shoulders, my tone tinged with helplessness. Everyone has already eaten it. Don't think too much. Even so, Sue Curson remained incredibly excited, grabbing my arm and refusing to let go. Boss, I've heard of items that increase constitution, but I didn't expect them to really exist. And adding 10 points at once? That's just too outrageous. At this moment, Lin Yu tilted her head and asked with a confused face, Huh? Isn't it 100 points? This sentence was like a bucket of cold water poured over Sue Curson. She was stunned on the spot, turning her head stiffly to look at Lin Yu, then blankly at me, her eyes full of confusion and bewilderment. Lin Yu didn't notice anything strange and walked to her side, saying seriously, Sister Sue, did you misread it? The ones Brother Wu Di gave us before all added 100 points of constitution. Sue Curson finally realized what was happening and threw herself at me, wailing, Boss, I'm part of the team too. You can't play favorites. I pushed her away helplessly. There aren't any for now. I'll definitely give you some next time. Hearing that there was still a chance, Sue Curson immediately put away her grievances, her eyes lighting up, and she hurried toward the kitchen, shouting at Lin Shi as she ran. Cece, I want a full meat feast today. Watching Sue Curson's back, Lin Yu realized she had said the wrong thing and looked at me cautiously. It's fine. I shook my head gently, my tone peaceful. I never intended to treat anyone differently. It was just that Sue Curson's luck hadn't arrived yet. Hearing this, Lin Yu scratched her head and smiled embarrassedly. Time passed, and it was 1800 hours sharp. Suddenly, a system notification popped up in front of everyone. Ding! The worry-free supply line dungeon has ended. No more supplies or monsters will refresh today. Hearing the prompt, everyone in the vehicle stopped what they were doing, their eyes fixed on me. My expression shifted, and I immediately looked through the rearview mirror toward the back. The ghost car that had been following the RV was now gone. I pondered for a moment, then gave an order to the air. Xiao Shi, stop the car. Received, Commander. Following Xiao Shi's voice, the RV slowed down and finally came to a steady stop on the side of the road. I turned around to face everyone, my tone softening. Relax, everyone. Let's eat first. The system has already notified us that there are no more supplies or monsters, so we'll stop here for the day. The subsequent dinner ended under Sue Curson's excited yet resentful gaze. After the meal, Su Wanwan walked up to me immediately. Brother Wu Di, these are the blueprints we found today. Take a look. I took the blueprints and checked the attributes. Air Purification Module Blueprint. Blue-grade vehicle item. Uses multi-stage catalytic filtration and electrostatic dust removal technology. Built-in activated carbon adsorption layer, photocatalyst module, and negative ion unit. Can purify particulate matter, toxic gases, odors, and trace corrosive aerosols inside the vehicle. Supports automatic air quality detection and intelligent airflow adjustment. Energy consumption plus 5%. Installation requirement. Level 4 or higher vehicle. Crafting requirements. Metal block 1, rubber 5, plastic 5, electronic components 5, charcoal 5. After reading the attributes, my expression was somewhat strange. Lin Shi noticed my expression and said, Brother Wu Di, we feel like this blueprint is prepared in advance for the next stage of the crisis. Eventually, I withdrew my gaze, gave up on thinking about it, and said, Forget it, don't think too much, just get some rest. At this time, Sue Curson noticed that Lin Yu had been staring at her, so she touched her face and asked in confusion, Little Yu, why do you keep staring at me? Is there something on my face? Lin Yu waved her hands quickly, her face filled with urgent defense. No, Sister Sue. I'm just worried that your body won't be able to handle it. If you faint, I'll definitely be the first to pick you up. Sue Curson frowned, her eyes filled with confusion, and she retorted, Why would I faint? Did you guys do something to me or drug me? Before Lin Yu could answer, my voice suddenly sounded, interrupting the conversation. Lin Yu, give me talent amplification. Got it, Brother Wu Di. Lin Yu agreed immediately, ignoring the confused Sue Curson, and hurried to the driver's seat. After completing the buff, she ran to the passenger seat and sat down, tilting her head to look at me. Sue Curson opened her mouth, wanting to ask a few more questions, but Lin Shi, who was beside her, quietly reached out and tugged at her sleeve, giving her a hush look, signaling her not to say anything more. Su Kursin suppressed the confusion in her heart, her gaze sweeping over the calm people in the cabin, and she muttered to herself, "It's like this again. They must be hiding something from me. How hateful." I, in the driver's seat, scanned my personal space and immediately locked onto the two items harvested from the supply point today, the talent fragment and the bracelet function expansion blueprint. Without any hesitation, I immediately activated enhancement on the talent fragment. Ding! Talent, rule breaker, activated. Item promoted by 2 tiers. Talent fragment, silver grade, has been promoted to talent fragment, legendary grade. Looking at the system prompt, I, usually so calm, felt waves of emotion surging in my eyes. My knuckles tightened involuntarily, and I whispered, "Legendary grade again." There was an unconcealable excitement in that tone. This was already the 4th legendary grade talent fragment in my hand, one step closer to the goal. Suppressing the excitement in my heart, I continued with the next enhancement, my gaze falling on the bracelet function expansion blueprint. Ding! Talent, rule breaker, activated. Item promoted by 1 tier. Bracelet function expansion blueprint, special item, has been promoted to bracelet function expansion blueprint, special item. Looking at the prompt, I was stunned for a moment and quickly checked the attributes. Bracelet function expansion blueprint, special item unlocks the system wristband team function upon use. Adds wristband team channel and real-time voice communication. All team members can enable vehicle positioning linkage to view vehicle location, distance, and operating status in real-time. Looking at the promoted attributes, I didn't dwell on the unknown situation and continued to the next enhancement. Ding! Talent, rule breaker, activated. Item promoted by 1 tier. Air purification module blueprint, blue grade, has been promoted to biochemical protection unit blueprint, purple grade. Biochemical Protection Unit Blueprint. Purple grade utilizes a dual system of multi-stage catalysis plus active purification. While retaining the activated carbon and photocatalyst modules, it adds a biochemical filtration unit and a toxin decomposition module. It can intercept microbial spores and volatile toxic media, features air anomaly warnings and automatic pressurized protection, and isolates external pollution. Energy consumption plus 10% upon use. Installation requirement, level 4 or higher vehicle. Crafting requirements, metal block 5, rubber 5, plastic 5, charcoal 5, electronic components 20, atomic mass matter 5. Looking at this final purple grade blueprint, a trace of helplessness flashed in my eyes. Currently, all high-tier blueprints were stuck on atomic mass matter, and I only had 5 units left. After a brief moment of thought, I put the blueprint away and turned my attention to the QBZ-95 assault rifle I had exchanged for in the safe zone earlier. QBZ-95 assault rifle, blue grade, a modified version of a standard assault rifle. 5.8 mm caliber, 30-round magazine, equipped with simple mechanical sights and tactical rails. Effective range 280 meters, prone to overheating during continuous fire. Since vehicle enhancement couldn't proceed for now, I might as well arm everyone first. Thinking of this, I used the remaining 2 talent enhancement opportunities on these. Ding! Talent, rule breaker, activated. Item promoted by 1 tier. QBZ-95 assault rifle, blue grade, has been promoted to modified QBZ-95 assault rifle, purple grade. Ding! Talent, rule breaker, activated. Item promoted by 1 tier. QBZ-95 assault rifle, blue grade, has been promoted to modified QBZ-95 assault rifle, purple grade. Modified QBZ-95 assault rifle, purple grade standard high precision modified version. Adapted for 5.8 mm specialized reinforced ammunition, 40-round high-capacity polymer magazine, standard high magnification optical sight, and red dot composite aiming system. Heavy-duty cooling barrel effectively suppresses overheating during continuous fire. Effective range 450 meters. Shooting stability and ballistic consistency are significantly enhanced, with certain corrosion and stain resistance. Looking at the enhanced modified QBZ-95 assault rifle in my space, a trace of disappointment flashed in my eyes. I had originally hoped for an infinite ammo attribute like my Ghost Shadow pistol. After the disappointment, I quickly collected my thoughts, suppressed the gap in my expectations, and took out a modified QBZ-95 rifle from my personal space, touching the gun body with my fingertips to examine it carefully. The gun body was matte black with sharp lines. The heavy-duty cooling barrel felt substantial, with fine anti-slip textures engraved on the surface. The grip was wrapped in anti-slip rubber, feeling stable to the touch. It came standard with a high-magnification optical sight and a red dot system, with a 40-round high-capacity magazine embedded under the body, exuding a precise and clean tactical feel. Lin Yu, who had been waiting for a long time, saw that the vehicle points hadn't changed at all. Just as she was secretly wondering, she caught a glimpse of the firearms in my hands and immediately perked up. She leaned in and asked, "Big Brother Wu Di, are these for us?" She clearly remembered that I usually only carried a pistol and a knife. I nodded slightly, swept my gaze over everyone, and then took another modified QBZ assault rifle from my personal space and handed it to Lin Yu. "You two split these two rifles. We don't know what we'll encounter in the next stage, so keep them with you." Su Kurson leaned against the side of the cabin, watching for a long time. Seeing that I had only taken out 2 rifles in the end, she couldn't help but speak up. "I thought you were up to something I didn't know about, but this is it? Boss, the cloud-piercing bow you gave me is much more powerful than this thing." Lin Yu looked at the stats of the 2 modified QBZ assault rifles in her hands and quickly ran over to Su Wanwan. "Sister Wanwan, this one is for you." After saying that, she turned to Su Kurson and said, "Sister Su, if you don't want it, I'll take it. I want to use it to protect my sister." Su Wanwan didn't refuse and took the rifle to examine it. She watched Lin Yu from the side, reached out to stroke her hair, and said, "Xiao Yu, give it to me." Lin Yu turned her head, met Lin Shi's earnest gaze, and gripped the rifle tightly, her eyes filled with warmth. It had always been her sister protecting her. This time, she had wanted to hold the gun to protect her sister and everyone else. But looking at Lin Shi's firm gaze, she knew that saying anything was useless, and in the end, she gently handed the rifle over. Seeing this, I said, "Everyone, get some rest early tonight." With that, I ignored the others, lay down on the driver's seat, and closed my eyes to ponder the potential crises we might face tomorrow. Seeing this, Su Kurson immediately scurried over to the passenger seat, sat down, and pleaded with me, "Boss, do I really have to stay here tonight?" Before I could reply, she muttered to herself, "Well, staying here is fine. At least it's better than where I used to sleep." The beds there weren't comfortable at all. Lin Shi and the others smiled at this and returned to the bedroom. When the time hit 5 o'clock sharp, Lin Shi, Lin Yu, and Su Wanwan walked out of the bedroom on time. Without any unnecessary chatter, they quietly began organizing their gear and checking supplies. Everyone quickly finished breakfast and waited quietly inside the RV. Time ticked by, and soon it was 5:59. The cabin fell completely silent. Everyone was ready, their gazes fixed on me in the driver's seat. I sat in the driver's seat and checked the vehicle attributes one last time. Vehicle, level 5 vehicle, top speed, 300 kilometers per hour. Vehicle accessories/items, lucky pendant, gold, HX, 9-ion thruster, red, ceramic composite bulletproof glass, gold, Titan, MK4 composite chassis, gold, vehicle nuclear reactor, orange, smart constant temperature refrigeration box, purple, atmospheric water collection unit, orange, vehicle global scanning radar, gold, 30mm chain autocannon, orange, smart hub, gold, Titan armor-piercing ram, purple, multispectral penetrating illumination unit, purple, composite armor coating, gold, global stealth reconnaissance drone, purple, holographic disguise, gold, ancient constructor, imperial divine armor, red, matrix stability tracks, gold, supercore power module, orange, anti-gravity suspension stability field generator, orange, holographic cinema projection module, purple, omnidimensional perception array, red, solid-state lithium iron phosphate integrated stack, gold. As the time hit exactly 6 o'clock, a familiar white light suddenly flared up, instantly enveloping the entire cabin. Everyone instinctively closed their eyes. When the white light slowly dissipated, The system notification interface popped up in front of everyone on time. Region-wide announcement. Welcome to the Mist Cage Dungeon. The mist distorts perception, and greed amplifies risk. Survival is your only goal. I opened my eyes immediately and looked outside. We were currently parked on a two-lane road. The visibility ahead was less than 10 meters. The thick mist, like indelible ink, completely swallowed the road ahead, and no outlines were visible beyond 10 meters. I instinctively looked through the rearview mirror. The scene behind was the same, with dense mist stretching endlessly. On both sides of the road, the view was completely obscured by heavy mist, with no traces of plants or buildings to be seen. It was as if the entire world consisted only of this road wrapped in mist, lonely and eerie. After observing the surroundings, I immediately spoke into the air. Xiaoxi, is the radar working properly? Commander, the omnidimensional perception array is unaffected, and the radar is functioning normally. Xiaoxi's voice was clear and steady. Hearing Xiaoxi's reply, I breathed a sigh of relief. Although I didn't know what we would encounter next, as long as the radar worked, this dense fog would no longer be an insurmountable obstacle. Su Kursen leaned in, her eyes full of curiosity, and asked softly, Boss, is the equipment on your vehicle this strong? Is there anything else I don't know about? At this moment, Lin Yu, sitting in the passenger seat, looked smug and said to Su Kursen with a smile, Sister Su, we are the #1 team in the world. You have no idea what Big Brother Wu Di has installed. Su Kursen looked at Lin Yu's smug expression, then turned to me, her tone tinged with a mix of coquettishness and dissatisfaction. She gritted her teeth and said, Boss, I've already given myself to you, yet you're still keeping things from me and not telling me anything. Does being a stray mean I'm not valued? As soon as Su Kursen said this, Lin Shi and Su Wanwan's gazes were instantly drawn over, landing on me with strange expressions. Lin Yu also blushed, looked at Su Kursen in surprise, then scanned me with a strange look, stammering, Big Brother Wu Di. You too. I had been focused on observing the outside, but I was stunned by Su Kursen's words. I turned to look at her, my tone full of helplessness. Can you stop causing trouble? Afterward, I ordered Xiaoxi in a low voice. Xiaoxi, maintain a speed of 60 kilometers per hour. Report immediately if the radar detects any anomalies. Received, Commander, Xiaoxi replied. The RV started slowly and drove into the depths of the mist. After the RV started, I looked at the few people still staring at me and sighed helplessly. What is wrong with your brains? Stop thinking nonsense. As I said this, I turned my gaze to Su Kursen and added in a flat tone. If we need to get out and scout today, you're the one going. Su Kursen's shoulders slumped, and she made a bitter face, but she didn't argue. Just then, Su Wanwan suddenly prompted, Big Brother Wu Di, look at the side of the road. Hearing Su Wanwan, everyone immediately shifted their gaze to the mist outside. I saw that in the mist by the roadside, at regular intervals, there was a familiar supply crate. The crate emitted a dazzling golden light, clearly visible even through the thick black fog. My heart tightened, and I immediately asked Xiaoxi. Xiaoxi, what's the situation outside? Did the radar detect any anomalies? Commander, no anomalies detected. Xiaoxi's voice came through promptly. Hearing this, I frowned and fell into deep thought. It was clear that the supply crate could be seen with the naked eye, yet the radar couldn't detect it. I remembered clearly that the gold-quality radar on the vehicle should be able to scan for supply crates. But this situation was completely illogical. Seeing this, Lin Shi asked softly, Xiaoxi, can't you scan the supply crate outside with the radar? Miss Lin Shi, after a comprehensive scan, no supply crate has been detected. Su Wanwan spoke up at the right moment, her tone filled with speculation. Big Brother Wu Di, could it be that this dense mist is interfering with the radar's detection? Just as Su Wanwan finished speaking, Lin Yu suddenly shouted urgently, Look at the communication channel. Many people are talking about this. Everyone in the vehicle immediately turned their eyes to Lin Yu. Lin Yu waved her hands. Not at me. Look at the communication channel. Many survivors are saying that the golden supply crates in the mist are fake. They're hallucinations. Hearing Lin Yu, I immediately opened the communication channel. The screen was instantly filled with messages from survivors. Who understands this? The golden supply crate on the side of the road looked so tempting. I just got out to pick it up, and it vanished as soon as I got close. Warning: don't touch those supply crates. They are hallucinations created by the mist. My teammate already got hurt trying to pick up a fake crate. Are you guys getting attacked too? I checked several, and they were all illusions. I didn't encounter any monsters. Does any expert know? Why do the supply crates look so real, but disappear when you touch them? Is there a way to break the illusion? Experts who know, don't keep it to yourselves. Don't be stupid. This dungeon is called Mist Cage. The mist must be distorting our perception. Those are all traps. I shot at one just now, and the bullet went straight through. It's not physical at all. It's purely an illusion. Someone help me. I tried to pick up a fake supply crate, missed my footing, fell into a pit, and broke my leg. Everyone take note. The supply crates are hallucinations. Don't touch them, don't chase them. Saving your life is what matters. There are real supply crates inside. Haven't you guys encountered any? Stay honestly in your vehicles. Only by not being tempted can you survive. If we don't get the supply crates, we have no food, no water, and no fuel. How are we supposed to survive? Is anyone like me? Even though I know they're fake, I still can't help but want to check them out. They're too tempting. After reading the messages, I let out a long sigh of relief, and my heart finally settled. Confirming that the radar was working normally and that we hadn't missed any real supply crates, I comforted everyone. All right, you don't need to crowd around anymore. The most important thing right now is to trade for talent fragments and blueprints. Hearing this, the group returned to the sofa and sat down, starting to pay attention to the activity on the communication channel. I looked at the thick mist outside, still wondering what the situation would be like with the supply crates we might encounter next. The RV maintained a steady speed. An hour later, Xiaoxi's voice suddenly sounded. Commander, a supply crate has been detected to the front left. Preparing to stop. The people in the cabin were drawn by the prompt and walked to the front to watch. I looked at the yellow dot on the center console screen and found that it was clearly located off the edge of the road. As the RV slowly came to a stop, I stared at the supply crate 50 meters off the road on the screen, then turned to look at Sue Curson. Sue Curson noticed my gaze and immediately put on a death-defying expression, saying firmly, "Boss, say no more. I'll go wherever you point. Isn't it just going out to grab a supply crate?" With that, she prepared to get out of the vehicle. Wait, I stopped her. I stood up. Although I had said earlier that I would let Sue Curson go down, in this special situation, I preferred to trust myself. Sue Curson heard my voice, looked back in confusion, and quickly said, "Boss, what's wrong? I really can do it." In fact, since arriving here, she had been freeloading, and she felt a bit embarrassed. When she was alone before, she had encountered countless dangers and had gritted her teeth to survive them all. Now that she had a chance to prove her worth, she was fully willing to do it. I looked at Sue Curson's earnest expression and said slowly, "I'll go with you. Big brother Wu Di, let me go with Sister Sue," Su Wanwan suddenly said. I noticed that even Lin Yu and Lin Shi were about to speak up, so I quickly said, "Don't overthink it. I'm just going down to check the situation. You'll all have to go get the later supply crates." With that, I ignored their reactions, opened the door, and stepped out. Seeing this, Su Curson gave Lin Yu and the others a reassuring look and quickly followed me. After getting out, I took the armor-piercing Tang Dao I hadn't used in a long time from my personal space and gripped it tightly. Su Curson took out her cloud-piercing bow and followed closely by my side. "Boss, are we just going over there like this?" Su Curson asked, seeing me walk straight toward the supply crate after getting out. "What's wrong?" I asked, looking back in confusion. "Boss, I've seen on TV that when you encounter this kind of situation, you're supposed to stand back to back to prevent sneak attacks," Su Curson explained with a serious face. I looked at the earnest Su Curson and sighed helplessly. "Just stay by my side and keep an eye on the surroundings." With that, I left the road and walked into the thick black fog. Once inside, I realized that while I couldn't see through the fog from the vehicle, being in it was even more restrictive. Visibility was basically only about 1 meter, and everything around was blurry. Suddenly, I felt my sleeve being tugged. I turned to see Su Curson looking around vigilantly, whispering, Boss, slow down. The visibility here is too low. Let's not get separated. Seeing her vigilance, I took a deep breath, reached out to grab her wrist, and said in a low voice, "Follow me." With that, I walked quickly toward the supply crate. Sue Curson, being pulled by me, quickly said, Hey, boss, slow down." It was only 50 meters, and with me pulling Sue Curson along, we reached the supply crate in just a few seconds. Looking at the supply crate lying quietly on the ground, I realized that while it had looked like it was glowing gold from afar, I could tell just by its appearance now that it was only a silver supply crate. Sue Curson looked disappointed and said, "Boss, isn't this just a silver supply crate?" It looked so tempting from the vehicle. I thought it was high-end stuff. I put the supply crate into my personal space and said in a low voice, "Let's go back." The moment we turned around, we realized the RV that had been parked on the side of the road had vanished without a trace. Even the lights that were always on were nowhere to be seen. A flash of surprise crossed Sue Curson's face, but she quickly calmed down and said in a grave tone, "Boss, do you think the people on the communication channel got lost here just like this? It's a good thing we have the vehicle positioning function. Otherwise, we'd be in real trouble." I looked at the scene before me and nodded slowly. Never mind others. Even I couldn't distinguish any direction in this environment. It was fortunate that we had obtained the vehicle positioning function in the previous stage. "Boss, how did you get all these strange items?" "Hey, boss, slow down." Before Sue Curson could finish, I dragged her back toward the RV. Back inside, I sat back in the driver's seat. I ordered into the air, "Shao Shi, continue forward." "Received, Commander." On the other side, Sue Curson was being pulled onto the sofa by Lin Shi and the others, describing her experience in the black fog with great animation, her tone full of relief. She patted her chest and exclaimed, "It has to be the boss. If it weren't for the vehicle positioning function, we probably would have been trapped in the black fog and unable to return today." I didn't join their chat, focusing instead on the screen and keeping an eye on every message in the communication channel. I soon discovered that not all supply crates were hidden deep in the mist. Many ordinary supply crates were scattered along the edges of the road. Besides that, I noticed that many survivors had come up with ways to deal with the mist. As long as they tied themselves to their vehicles with a rope, they didn't have to worry about losing their way or not finding the path back. The RV drove steadily forward. I didn't need to worry too much about the road conditions. I could leave the control to Shao Shi. Does the grade of the supply crate increase the further you go from the road? Are there monsters lurking in the depths of the mist? These questions swirled in my mind, but for now, there were no answers. Less than an hour later, Shao Shi's voice sounded again. "Commander, a supply crate signal has been detected. Preparing to approach and stop." The people in the cabin were drawn by the prompt again and gathered at the front to watch. Following Shao Shi's prompt, the RV slowed down and came to a smooth stop. I looked at the center console screen. The yellow dot for the supply crate was just 5 meters off the road, extremely close. After the RV came to a complete stop, I looked back and saw Sue Curson and the others staring at me, their eyes full of eagerness to show what they could do. I looked at the group, all seemingly wanting to perform, and said, "Sue Curson, you and Lin Shi go get it. Don't worry, boss. I guarantee I'll protect your little Shi perfectly." Sue Curson raised her bow and arrow, patting her chest confidently. Lin Shi's cheeks turned red at Sue Curson's words, and she quickly reached out to pull Sue Curson out of the vehicle. Just as Lin Shi stepped out of the door, Lin Yu immediately leaned toward me, her brow furrowed, and asked worriedly, "Big Brother Wu Di, will my sister and the others be okay?" My gaze fell on Lin Shi and Sue Curson, who hadn't yet stepped into the black fog. I was speechless and hadn't even had a chance to speak. Su Wanwan gently walked over to Lin Yu, took her hand, and comforted her softly. "Xiaoyu, don't worry. At such a close distance, they'll be fine." I watched quietly as the two walked into the black fog. Within a minute, Lin Shi and Sue Curson walked out of the fog and quickly returned to the RV. Lin Yu immediately stood up and rushed to Lin Shi, asking urgently, "Sister, are you okay? Did you encounter anything unusual?" Sue Curson sighed faintly. "Oh my, why is no one worried about me?" Lin Yu then realized and quickly added embarrassedly, "Sister Sue, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are you okay too? I didn't delay and immediately ordered Xiaoxi. Xiaoxi, continue forward. Maintain a steady speed of 120 kilometers per hour. Received, Commander. Maintaining a steady speed of 120. The RV started moving again. Lin Shi and the others walked near the driver's seat. Lin Shi said to me softly, Big Brother Wu Di, that was just an ordinary supply crate. Nothing unusual. I nodded slightly and said, judging by today's situation, we shouldn't have a shortage of supply crates. From now on, you two go in pairs to retrieve them. Lin Yu had already returned to her usual lively self and patted her chest, guaranteeing, Big Brother Wu Di, don't worry, we can definitely handle this little task. With that, she walked back to the passenger seat, her eyes fixed on the mist ahead, as if she could see through it and spot the next supply crate before it appeared. However, the rest of the journey was unexpectedly smooth. By the time everyone finished lunch, all the supply crates they had encountered were within 50 meters, and no anomalies had occurred throughout the entire process. At this moment, Lin Yu sat in the passenger seat, gesturing excitedly as she chirped, Big Brother Wu Di, we've already gotten 2 silver, 2 black iron, 1 bronze, and 1 ordinary supply crate today. Su Kerson also leaned over, her eyes full of curiosity. Boss, your RV is so powerful. Are the supply crates above silver the gold level ones? I've never seen one before. I shook my head slightly and replied truthfully, I haven't seen one either. I was lost in thought, wondering if I would encounter any attacks in the fog next. Although I hadn't seen any news about attacks on the communication channel yet, this unusual smoothness made me feel that something was wrong. It was too simple, and that in itself felt eerie. Su Kerson noticed the worried look on my face after I replied, so she quickly leaned in. Boss, what are you thinking about? Tell us, and I can help you brainstorm. I raised my eyes, scanned the group, and asked slowly, do you think today's crisis is really this simple? Lin Yu immediately replied with full conviction, Brother Wu Di, we have the radar? It can detect monsters and pinpoint supply crates, so what's the difficulty? If we really run into a monster, we can just blast it to pieces and be done with it. Hearing Lin Yu's words, I suddenly snapped out of it. I realized I had indeed been overthinking. Not to mention that today was only the first day of the dungeon. But given our current strength, the problems the survivors on the communication channel were facing were simply not worth mentioning for us. Realizing this, I let out a sigh of relief and said gently to them, It's nothing. I was just overthinking. You don't need to worry. Time passed slowly, and by around 3 in the afternoon, Xiaoxi's notification sound suddenly rang out. Commander, a supply crate signal has been detected, and a mimic has also been detected. It is approaching. We immediately gathered in front of the vehicle, our eyes locked on the center console screen. The screen clearly showed the supply crate about 500 meters from the edge of the road, and next to the yellow dot representing the crate, 2 striking red dots were flashing. Clearly, those were the mimics Xiaoxi mentioned. Immediately after, detailed information about the monster popped up on the center console screen. Mimic, appearance, an alien monster disguised as a supply crate. Its surface covered in an alluring luster, making it almost indistinguishable from a real supply crate. Attack method. When touched, the box will instantly split open to bite the person touching it. Characteristics. Skilled at camouflage, extremely stealthy, and often lurks near supply crates. Weakness. The inside of the box is its weak point. After reading the introduction on the screen, Su Kerson immediately raised her hand, looking eager to try. Boss, I'll go get it. Lin Shi followed closely behind and said softly, I'll go with Sister Su. I looked back at the two of them, my expression filled with hesitation. With a distance of 500 meters and 2 mimics, I couldn't help but feel uneasy. Lin Shi keenly sensed my concerns. She met my gaze and said with firm eyes, Brother Wu Di, we can do it. We will definitely be careful and won't push ourselves. Looking at Lin Shi's serious and determined expression, I pondered for a moment and nodded slowly. You must prioritize safety. If you encounter any danger, retreat immediately. Do not force it. Don't worry, boss. Su Kerson patted her chest, giving a solemn guarantee. Then, she and Lin Shi opened the vehicle door and walked quickly into the thick fog. We waited quietly inside the vehicle, counting the time second by second. About 20 minutes later, the door was gently pushed open, and Su Kerson and Lin Shi walked in side by side. Their expressions were completely different. Su Kerson looked astonished, her eyes filled with disbelief. Lin Shi was beaming, the corners of her mouth unable to stop curling upward, her eyes full of joy. As soon as Lin Shi entered, she couldn't wait to walk up to me. Her tone was brimming with excitement. "Brother Wu Di, it's a golden treasure chest." As she spoke, she took a treasure chest glowing with brilliant golden light from her personal space and placed it gently on the coffee table. We immediately gathered around, our eyes fixed on the golden treasure chest, filled with curiosity and surprise, our breathing even slowing down. Lin Yu crowded to the front, staring at the golden treasure chest with anticipation. "This is my first time seeing a golden treasure chest. Brother Wu Di, should we open it now? Could there be a blueprint for a house inside?" Clearly, Lin Yu was still thinking about building a house in the domain. Su Wanwan didn't let her imagination run wild like Lin Yu. She noticed that Su Kerson was still frowning, her expression looking particularly strange, so she quickly walked over and asked with gentle concern, "Sister Su, what's wrong? Did you get hurt by accident?" Su Kerson finally snapped out of it. She turned to look at Lin Shi, her tone filled with incredulous astonishment. "Cici, you're too amazing. I hadn't even reacted to those two mimics yet, and you had already taken care of them." Lin Shi's cheeks flushed slightly from the praise. She smiled gently and said modestly, "I just have a higher physique attribute. In other areas, I can't compare to Sister Su." This was the truth. Ever since she came to my side, she hadn't experienced any combat. In terms of practical combat ability, she knew well that she was far inferior to Su Kerson. Time continued to pass, and before we knew it, it was evening. We had a simple dinner and then sat around the coffee table, ready to count the day's harvest. At this moment, the supply crates we had collected were neatly arranged on the coffee table. One golden treasure chest, two silver treasure chests, two black iron treasure chests, one bronze treasure chest, and one ordinary supply crate. Besides these, there was also a talent treasure chest that had just refreshed, exclusive to Su Wanwan. Su Wanwan took a deep breath, picked up her own talent treasure chest first, and opened it gently. As the chest dissipated, she revealed the contents. Su Wanwan immediately displayed the blueprint's attributes to everyone. Space Expansion Scroll, special item. After use, it can add 2 square meters of space to the vehicle. Lin Yu's eyes lit up. She immediately leaned in and shouted excitedly, "Wow! Brother Wu Di, can we expand the RV space again?" Su Kerson stared at the attributes on the blueprint, her expression looking particularly strange. She couldn't help but complain. "This RV space is already so big. How many of these things have you guys used?" Lin Shi and Su Wanwan looked at each other and smiled without answering. Watching Su Kerson's reaction, they felt as if they were seeing their former selves, full of surprise and disbelief. Lin Shi turned to look at Lin Yu and said softly, "Xiao Yu, give me talent amplification." "All right, sister." Lin Yu nodded immediately, raised her hand, and cast talent amplification on Lin Shi, her eyes full of anticipation. Afterward, Lin Shi picked up the golden treasure chest and opened it gently. As the chest vanished, she looked at the harvest inside and, with a face full of surprise, displayed all the supplies to everyone. Attribute fruit times 3, effect, +1 physique after consumption. Atomic mass matter times 5, fuel 200 units. Rice 100 kilograms times 1, vacuum-packed braised food, cans times 1 box. Lin Shi turned to look at me, her eyes filled with surprise and anticipation. I suppressed the excitement in my heart and said steadily, "Continue." Following that, Lin Shi picked up the 2 silver treasure chests and opened them one by one, displaying all the supplies inside to everyone. Metal blocks times 60, electronic components times 30, glass times 10. Bagged refined salt times 5, vacuum-packed dehydrated vegetable packs times 5. Simple cultivation pot blueprint. Green quality can craft a simple cultivation pot. The pot has basic water retention and breathable structure, and can be filled with soil to grow conventional crops. After use, the blueprint is permanently unlocked. Crafting requirements: plastic times 1, soil times 2. Seeing that Lin Shi had used up her talent uses, Lin Yu leaned in, frowning slightly. Sister, except for the atomic mass matter that Brother Wu Di needs, these other supplies don't seem useful at all. You have such bad luck. Su Kersen's face darkened on the side, and the corners of her mouth twitched. She now knew about the talents of Lin Shi and the others, and thinking back to when she used to open chests alone and could only get ordinary supplies, her heart was filled with mixed feelings. She couldn't help but mutter, "Is this what a cheater looks like? This is too ridiculous." Lin Shi ignored their teasing and handed the 3 attribute fruits, 5 units of atomic mass matter, and the simple cultivation pot blueprint she had just obtained directly to me. Just as I took the supplies, Xiaoxi's notification sound suddenly rang out. "Commander, an abnormal situation has been detected. Please be alert." This sentence instantly attracted everyone's attention. We immediately put away our expressions and looked in unison at the vehicle window in front of us. The next second, an eerie scene appeared before everyone's eyes. In the thick fog, familiar figures emerged. In front of each person's window stood their closest relative. Lin Yu looked at her mother outside the window, her eyes instantly turning red. Her voice choked with sobs as she couldn't help but call out softly, "Mom." Tears welled up in her eyes, and her feet subconsciously moved toward the vehicle door, her heart filled with the urge to rush out. Su Kersen looked at her grandmother outside the window. The astonishment on her face was gradually replaced by longing. Her eyes grew hot, and her mouth moved, but she couldn't say a word. She just stared fixedly at that familiar figure, her eyes filled with a daze and craving. She hadn't seen her grandmother for too long, and she even thought she would never see her again. Su Wanwan looked at her grandfather outside the window, her hands gripping her hem tightly. Tears fell silently, her face full of grievance and longing as she whispered, "Grandpa, I miss you so much." Her voice was very soft, but it carried an unmistakable tremor. Lin Shi looked at her grandmother outside the window, a mist rising in her eyes. Her expression was gentle yet dazed, and her feet moved slightly. Her eyes were full of yearning, but they also carried a trace of imperceptible hesitation. She knew this was too eerie, but the grandmother in front of her was just too real. I looked at my parents outside the window, and my whole body instantly stiffened. The steadiness in my eyes faded, replaced by deep confusion and a daze. I stood there blankly, my gaze locked on my parents' figures, my mind in chaos. How long had it been? I couldn't seem to remember. I only remembered that the last time we met was before the disaster struck. I hadn't been able to spend enough time with them, nor had I been able to say take care. The parents before me were still smiling, but the white hair at their temples was particularly piercing. Was it real? Or was it an illusion created by the fog? I couldn't help but reach out, wanting to touch the figure on the window, my heart full of struggle. I longed for this to be real, longed to say one more word to my parents, but my reason kept reminding me that this was too eerie and could never be real. I stood there, caught in a dilemma, confusion drowning me like a tide, making even breathing feel heavy. Just as everyone was lost in longing and a daze for their relatives, unable to extricate themselves, Lin Yu had already walked to the vehicle door, her fingertips gripping the handle tightly, about to force the door open and rush out. "Xiaoyu, what are you doing? Don't go down." Lin Shi was quick-witted and grabbed Lin Yu. Lin Yu's body paused. She turned her head, her eyes full of confusion and grievance, and asked softly, "Sister, isn't that Mom? Why can't I go down?" Su Kersen also quickly regained her senses, forcibly suppressing the longing surging in her heart. Her expression became solemn as she said, "No, this is too eerie. We have been in the fog all along. How could our relatives suddenly appear? And everyone sees their own relatives. It can't possibly be real." Su Wanwan reached up to wipe the tears from her face and echoed softly, "That's right. Grandpa is already gone. How could he appear here?" Her tone carried a trace of sobbing, but also a sliver of clear reason, reminding herself that all of this was too abnormal. Lin Shi also put away the daze in her eyes, her expression becoming serious. She analyzed calmly. It must be an illusion. Xiaoxi detected an abnormality, and we have encountered nothing but danger in the fog all the way here. It's impossible for so many relatives to suddenly appear, especially the ones each of us misses the most. This is clearly meant to lure us out of the vehicle. I slowly regained my senses, suppressed the confusion and longing in my heart, and my expression became steady again. I scanned the group and said in a deep voice, "The radar didn't detect any life forms. Eyes can deceive, but the radar won't. Don't look outside anymore." Lin Yu bit her lip, her eyes still red, filled with reluctance. "But it really looks exactly like Mom. Even the smile is exactly the same. How could it be fake?" Su Kersin walked over and gently patted Lin Yu's head, her tone soft but firm. "Xiao Yu, I know you miss your mom, and I miss my grandma too, but these are really all fake. If we really go down, not only will we not see our real relatives, but we will also put ourselves in fatal danger. By then, we will truly never have a chance to see them again." Su Wanwan also comforted her softly. "Xiao Yu, don't be sad. This is just a monster's trick. We can't fall for it." I looked at them and said solemnly, "Xiao Shi, do not open the vehicle door without my permission." "Received, Commander." After instructing Xiao Shi, I added to the women, "All of you, go into the domain space now and don't come out." Although I didn't know the specific situation outside, I knew that having Lin Shi and the others present wouldn't help the current situation at all. Rather than letting them stay here, be affected by the illusions, and fall into danger, it was better to let them hide in the domain space, which would ensure their safety and leave me with no worries. Hearing my words, Lin Shi immediately said, "Brother Wu Di, let them go in, but I will stay here to accompany you." I shook my head gently, my tone still firm. "No, you all go in together. Once inside, keep an eye on the communication channel. If there is any abnormal situation, notify me immediately." Seeing that my attitude was firm, the words they were about to use to persuade me were swallowed back, and they could only nod obediently. I turned to look at Lin Yu and said in a deep voice, "Lin Yu, cast talent amplification on me." Lin Yu nodded immediately and cast talent amplification on me. After the amplification was complete, Lin Shi, Lin Yu, Su Kersin, and Su Wanwan looked out the window again. Those relatives' figures were still standing in the fog, their expressions still familiar, but this time, there was no more daze or craving in their eyes, only full vigilance and determination. They all knew that once they were deceived by this illusion, what awaited them could be fatal danger. Afterward, the four of them entered the domain space one after another. I was the only one left in the vehicle. I slowly returned to the driver's seat, forced myself to calm down, suppressed the remaining longing and ripples in my heart, and looked at the supplies in my personal space, preparing to start today's talent enhancement. I immediately looked at the attributes of the Fate Orbit Star Core in my personal space. Fate Orbit Star Core, special item, the Tao gives birth to all things, each returning to its root. Only by keeping stillness can one know the constant. This was an item I had obtained in the Points Hub City for 350,000 points, and I had been waiting for the refresh of talent effect too. Although I still didn't know what the effect of this item was, I knew that such a special item would definitely change after enhancement. I immediately started using my talent. Ding! Talent, Rule Breaker, Effect 2, is active. Item promoted to Tier 3. Fate Orbit Star Core, special item, has been promoted to Seed of Myriad Transformations, special item. Seed of Myriad Transformations, special item. This dormant seed seems to contain the starting point of the evolution of all things. When it is awakened, all things in the world will follow its internal laws, shed their old appearance, and welcome a new life. Note: the old order disintegrates, a new state is born, breaking the limits of all laws, changing the rules of the world, and leading all things to transcendence. Looking at the attributes of the Seed of Myriad Transformations in my personal space, my heart was full of confusion. I immediately had a thought and took it out of my personal space. As soon as my fingertips touched the Seed of Myriad Transformations, a warm yet majestic power flowed through my fingertips. This seed was not in the shape of an ordinary grain, but rather like a transparent crystal the size of a pigeon egg. It was milky white and transparent, with a few winding golden patterns embedded inside, like flowing ribbons of light. When light passed through the crystal, it emitted a soft halo, and fine light spots slowly floated inside the crystal, as if gestating new vitality. The moment I held it in my hand, An inexplicable intuition instantly surged into my heart. This crystal seemed to be able to be used to increase my talent level. This feeling had no reason, but as the time my fingertips were in contact with the crystal grew longer, it became clearer and stronger. A strong feeling grew in my heart, as if my own talent was like a young beast waiting to be fed, crazily craving the power hidden in the crystal. I didn't even notice that the hand holding the heavy object was tightening unconsciously, my knuckles turning pale. Just as the force of my fingertips reached its limit and the skin on my fingertips was almost pierced by the edges of the crystal, the seed of myriad transformations suddenly erupted with blinding golden light, instantly breaking free from my palm and hovering directly above the driver's seat. Immediately after, the golden light surged, turning into a pillar of light that pierced through the roof of the RV and shot straight into the sky shrouded in fog. The pillar of light dyed the entire thick fog a dazzling gold, and even the abnormal energy in the surrounding air made a sizzling sound of dissolution under the illumination of the light pillar, gradually dissipating. Inside the pillar of light, countless fine golden light spots danced lightly like fireflies, slowly pouring into my body. I only felt a violent yet warm power instantly sweep through my whole body. My limbs and bones felt a burning soreness, yet it was permeated with an indescribable comfort. The talent power within me was crazily stirred and tempered, and my mind buzzed, as if some shackles were breaking and some new power was reorganizing and being born. I wanted to raise my hand to grab something, but my body was weak, and my consciousness began to blur, eventually falling backward uncontrollably and leaning heavily against the back of the driver's seat. Before losing consciousness, my last thought clamored in my mind, full of annoyance and unwillingness. Damn it. I was so busy fiddling with this thing that I didn't even get to use today's talent enhancement. Before the words fell, I completely lost consciousness and fell into deep darkness. I don't know how much time passed, but a faint, dim ray of light penetrated the fog and landed gently on my face, slowly waking me from my chaotic coma. When I opened my eyes again, the faint light in the fog seeped in through the gap in the vehicle window. The light was dim and soft, making me squint subconsciously. I slowly turned my neck and found that I was still leaning on the driver's seat. There was nothing unusual about my body, only the warm touch of the seed of myriad transformations still lingering on my fingertips. I raised my hand to press my swollen brow, and my gaze fell on the center console screen, 7:15 a.m. Brother Wu Di, you're finally awake. A crisp and urgent voice suddenly rang out. Lin Yu, in the passenger seat, was the first to notice that I had woken up and immediately leaned over. Her eyes were full of joy and worry, and the urgency in her tone could not be hidden at all. Hearing Lin Yu's voice, Su Kursin, Su Wanwan, and Lin Shi, who had been guarding nearby, also immediately gathered around. Their eyes fell on me in unison, full of unconcealable concern. Su Kursin frowned, her tone carrying a hint of teasing, yet she couldn't hide her concern. Boss, did you secretly reward yourself last night? We called you as soon as we woke up this morning, but we couldn't wake you up after calling several times. We thought something had happened to you, but Xiaoxi said there was no abnormality. Su Wanwan gently pulled on my sleeve, her eyes full of worry. Brother Wu Di, are you okay? Is there anywhere you feel uncomfortable? Do you want to rest for a while longer? Lin Shi didn't speak, just looked at me quietly, the worry in her eyes undisguised. Her gaze carefully examined my face, fearing that there might be even the slightest abnormality. I looked at the people gathered around me, suppressed the ripples in my heart, and didn't answer immediately. I closed my eyes, carefully recalling everything that happened last night. The strange phenomena of the seed of myriad transformations, the surging desire within my body, and that majestic power that swept through me. The fragmented memories gradually pieced themselves together, and a clear outline began to emerge in my mind. I suddenly remembered that not only had I failed to use my talent enhancement yesterday, but I had also accidentally triggered the power of the seed of myriad transformations. At this thought, my heart tightened. I immediately focused my mind, opened the system interface, and locked my gaze firmly onto the talent column. Talent name: Furnace of all things, Mythical Grade Gend. Effect: usage count refreshes daily at midnight, January 1st. Designate one primary offering and sacrifice any number of secondary offerings. The primary offering will be upgraded by at least 2 tiers, no level cap, and its final strength and attribute values will be determined by an equivalent conversion and stacking based on the total value and rarity of the secondary offerings. Looking at the brand new talent description on the interface, my pupils contracted and a storm of shock instantly surged within me. Compared to the previous talent, the change was earth-shattering. The usage count had plummeted from 5 times a day to just once. While it seemed like a nerf, the guaranteed 2-tier upgrade and no level cap were qualitative leaps. Even with only one chance, it was far more valuable than the previous 5. However, the sacrifice function left me full of confusion. The selection of primary and secondary offerings, the side effects after sacrifice, and the measurement of the secondary offering's value. Countless questions swirled in my mind, leaving me both delighted by the talent's evolution and cautious due to the unknown. What annoyed me even more was that I still had 5 unused talent enhancement chances from yesterday. If I had known, I would have used them for the first talent effect. At this moment, my heart was a mix of emotions. The ecstasy of the talent's evolution, confusion over the sacrifice function, and annoyance at the wasted talent uses. The expression on my face shifted between solemnity, joy, and a touch of distress. The others nearby saw the changes in my expression clearly. They exchanged glances, seeing the confusion in each other's eyes, but no one dared to speak up and disturb me. Finally, Linyu couldn't hold back any longer. She gently tugged at my arm and whispered, "Brother Wu Di, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell, or is something on your mind?" I finally snapped back to reality, looked at the people gathered around me, and said softly, "I'm fine. You don't need to keep crowding around me." Seeing that I was indeed all right, Lin, she said, "Brother Wu Di, I'll go get you something to eat." With that, she turned and walked away. Su Wanwan and Su Kersen remained where they were. Su Kersen spoke first, her tone filled with curiosity. "Boss, have you checked the communication channel? Someone said something strange happened in the channel last night." No sooner had she finished speaking than Lin Yu chimed in, her tone full of excitement. "That's right, Brother Wu Di. Not long after we entered the domain space last night, someone said they saw a golden pillar of light shooting into the sky. It was amazing. I'm not sure." I shook my head gently. I didn't know that those so-called strange phenomena were exactly what I had triggered when my talent promoted last night. At this moment, I had only one thought, to figure out exactly what my current talent did. I stood up slowly, intending to enter the domain space to study it carefully, my sudden movement causing those around me to look at each other in confusion. As I walked past Lin Shi, I stopped and said softly, "I'll come out to eat in a bit." With that, I stepped directly into the domain space. Upon entering the domain space, the familiar atmosphere washed over me. The space remained bright. The air was filled with the faint scent of fresh soil, and the vegetable patch that Lin Shi and the others had cultivated with their own hands was growing vigorously, with tiny dewdrops clinging to the green leaves, looking full of life. Besides that, I also noticed a mountain of supplies piled up in the corner of the space, neatly arranged, clearly organized by Lin Shi and the others over the past few days. The corners of my mouth curled up slightly. My gaze swept across the corner of the space, where a layer of clean clothes was spread out in an empty area. I assumed this was where Lin Yu and the others had rested last night. I walked over and sat down gently, then focused my mind and opened the system's talent interface, preparing to personally test this brand new furnace of all things talent. The moment the interface popped up, I saw that the talent usage screen was clearly divided into 2 sections, the primary offering interface and the secondary offering interface. I tried operating it and discovered that any item in my personal space could be added to these 2 interfaces without any restrictions. After a moment of thought, I decided to use the attribute fruits I had harvested yesterday as an experiment. I immediately set one attribute fruit as the primary offering and added the remaining 2 attribute fruits from my personal space into the secondary offering interface. Once everything was ready, I clicked the Use Talent button. Ding! Do you wish to select attribute fruit times 1 as the primary offering and attribute fruit times 2 as the secondary offerings? I didn't hesitate for a second and confirmed immediately. Ding, talent usage successful. Obtained, mutant constitution fruit times 1. Mutant constitution fruit. Consuming it adds plus 120 to constitution. Each person is limited to 1 consumption. Looking at the mutant constitution fruit I had finally obtained, I whispered, "Is this the evolved talent?" Afterward, I looked at the remaining supplies in my personal space and couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. I knew clearly that this evolved talent would definitely bring me a huge boost, but the biggest headache right now was the lack of sufficient materials. All the blueprints I had encountered so far required quantum primordial matter as a material, but I only had 10 units on hand, which was far from enough. Forget it, let's not think about that for now. At the very least, every talent output now is a premium item. I suppressed my concerns and comforted myself softly. But the next second, I slapped myself in annoyance. I had actually forgotten to have Lin Yu perform talent amplification on me. I gripped the mutant constitution fruit in my hand, stored it in my personal space, suppressed the annoyance and anticipation in my heart, and stood up to exit the domain space. As soon as I stepped out of the entrance, a clear 3D sound effect hit my ears, the clanging of metal, the roar of mecha transformations, and an intense battle soundtrack, all of which felt completely out of place with the thick fog outside the RV. I subconsciously paused and looked up. I saw Lin Shi, Su Kursin, Su Wanwan, and Lin Yu huddled together on the sofa in the RV's living room, their eyes locked on the holographic projection in front of them, their expressions so focused that it was as if everything around them had nothing to do with them. The light and shadow of the holographic cinema flickered across their faces, making their expressions look exceptionally vivid, a mix of tension and undisguised excitement. I raised an eyebrow, filled with surprise, and asked subconsciously, "What kind of show are you all watching?" As my voice fell, there was only the movie's sound effect in the cabin. No one responded to me. I was stunned for a moment before realizing that they hadn't noticed my appearance at all. Their attention was entirely focused on the holographic projection. They didn't even lift an eyelid. I shook my head helplessly and walked closer with light steps. It wasn't until I reached the sofa that Lin Yu caught a glimpse of me. Her eyes lit up, and she reached out to pat Su Kursin beside her, shouting excitedly, "Brother Wu Di, you're out." Lin Yu's voice broke the immersion in the cabin, and the other three snapped back to reality. Lin Shi subconsciously raised her hand and said to the air, "Xiao Shi, mute the sound." Received, Miss Lin Shi. No sooner had Lin Shi finished speaking than the sound effects in the cabin vanished instantly. Only then did they turn to look at me, their faces still carrying a daze from having just been pulled out of the movie's plot. I finally saw clearly that the holographic projection was playing Transformers. With the cool mecha transformations, intense battle scenes, and stunning visual effects, it was no wonder they were so engrossed. My gaze swept over the holographic projection and then back to them, my tone filled with a bit of confusion. Why are you suddenly watching a movie? And why was the volume turned up so high? Their expressions darkened. Su Kursin put away her smile and said solemnly, "Boss, strange things happened outside after you went in. We had no choice but to turn on the holographic cinema." Lin Yu added with lingering fear, "There were eerie sounds coming from outside. At first, they were very faint, but later they became clearer. I clearly heard my mother's voice, and I felt panicked." Su Wanwan added, "Those sounds have a magical quality. They can lure people into opening the doors. Many people in the communication channel disappeared after going outside." Lin Shi also spoke slowly, adding, "We were really worried about being lured by those eerie sounds, so we specifically turned on the holographic cinema and cranked the volume up so we wouldn't hear what was outside." Su Kursin suddenly interjected, her tone filled with emotion. "Boss, I really love you to death right now. If it weren't for you, I'd probably be like the others in the communication channel. There really is no comparison without a contrast." This remark instantly broke the previously serious atmosphere. Hearing Su Kursin's words, the others nodded in agreement. It was true. If it weren't for me, they would likely be like the survivors in the communication channel, still worrying about how to handle the situation outside. Once the atmosphere relaxed, Lin Yu was the first to return to her lively self. She grabbed my hand and invited me enthusiastically. Brother Wu Di, come watch with us. This Transformers is so good. The mecha transformations are so cool. Do you think our RV will be able to transform one day? Sue Curson chimed in, her face teasing as she patted the empty seat in the middle of the sofa. That's right, boss. The middle seat is saved for you. Wanwan and Cece's bodies are so soft. If you sit in the middle, you can lean on both sides. It would be so comfortable. As she spoke, Sue Curson nudged Su Wanwan and Lin Shi, her eyes full of mischief. Su Wanwan and Lin Shi both blushed slightly, their eyes filled with shyness as they glanced at me before quickly looking away. I looked at them, speechless, and said, "You all go ahead and watch. I'm going to the driver's seat in the front to check the situation." In truth, my heart wavered slightly. Seeing them huddled on the sofa and watching the cool mecha battles on the holographic projection, that rare sense of relaxation and warmth was something I rarely felt in this dangerous domain space. I wanted to sit down, watch the movie with them, and temporarily forget the dangers outside and the concerns in my heart, but I knew the current environment didn't allow me to do so. Seeing that my attitude was firm, Sue Curson stopped teasing and shrugged, saying, all right. Then boss, be careful. If anything happens, remember to call us. We can help too." Lin Shi also said softly, "Brother Wu Di, your meal is ready on the table." I nodded, picked up the food from the table, and turned to walk toward the driver's seat. After sitting down, I couldn't help but look back. I saw that they had already turned the movie sound back on and were once again engrossed in the plot, their faces gradually returning to the excitement and focus from before. The light and shadow of the holographic projection made their figures look exceptionally warm, forming a sharp contrast with the eerie atmosphere outside the cabin. Once I sat in the driver's seat, I stopped looking at the scene outside the window and focused entirely on the content of the Survivor communication channel. I knew clearly that today, there was not only fog outside but also the dual deception of illusions and sounds. The movie sound inside the car was loud enough. As long as I didn't look directly out the window, I wouldn't be affected by anything. The communication channel was already flooded with the wails and pleas for help from other survivors, every word dripping with despair. "Does anyone have extra fuel? Can you trade with me? I'm low on fuel, and there's no way to go outside right now." The sounds outside are too realistic. I know they're fake, but I can't help wanting to open the door. I've tied myself to my seat now. Can someone tell me when this will end? Damn it, the previous harsh environments were one thing, but now these illusions? Are we even meant to survive? Reminder to everyone. For the illusions and sound deceptions, as long as you close your eyes, cover your ears, and stay in an enclosed space, you won't be affected. My companion just jumped out of the car and ran into the fog. Now I'm all alone, and I'm so scared. There's something outside tapping on my car door, and it's imitating my wife's voice. I can't hold on much longer. Can someone talk to me? I just saw a few abandoned houses. It looks like there might be supplies inside, but I don't dare get out of the car. I got out of the car to look for supplies and was tricked by an illusion into a forest. Now I can't find my car. The fog is too thick, and I can't tell the direction. Can someone tell me what to do? The illusions outside change based on one's obsessions. I miss my mom the most, so I keep seeing her outside the window. I can't control myself anymore. I looked at the content in the communication channel, my expression calm, but unable to hide my solemnity. I had always known how difficult it was for other survivors, but this survival world was inherently cruel. This cruelty was never aimed at any one person. It descended upon everyone. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but look back at Lin Shi and the others. At this moment, they were still immersed in the movie plot, with relaxed smiles on their faces. The laughter in the cabin formed a glaring contrast with the desperate wails in the channel. I took a deep breath and forced myself to pull back my thoughts. Faced with the plight of other survivors, there was nothing I could do. Right now, all I could do was try my best to ensure that I and my companions survived. Immediately after, the news of someone mentioning encountering buildings surfaced in my mind. I wondered to myself, was this an illusion, or were there really supplies hidden inside? Just then, a prompt from Xiao Shi popped up on the center console screen. "Commander, a building has been detected 1,000 meters ahead. Do you need to approach and park?" My gaze fell on the center console screen, staring at the dot that was getting closer and closer, and I ordered decisively, Xiaoxi, approach and park. Received, Commander. As Xiaoxi's mechanical voice fell, the RV slowly decelerated and came to a steady stop on the side of the road. I looked out the window and saw a dilapidated bungalow standing on the edge of the road. The walls were mottled and peeling, the roof tiles were incomplete, the door hung crookedly on its frame, and the windows had long since lost their glass. Wrapped in the thick fog, it exuded an indescribable eeriness. I stood up to get out of the car to check. As soon as I reached for the door handle, Lin Shi and the others noticed immediately. Su Wanwan was the first to speak urgently. Xiaoxi, mute the sound. The movie sound vanished instantly, and the cabin fell into silence. They stood up quickly, but before they could even start to dissuade me, I saw through their thoughts and said decisively, Su Wanwan, you come down with me to take a look. As I spoke, I turned to the other three and added with unquestionable instructions. You stay in the car and lock the doors just like before. No matter what you hear or see, absolutely do not open the doors and do not go near the windows. Although they were full of worry, they knew my temper and could only nod in agreement. Afterward, I didn't hesitate. I opened the door and walked quickly toward the dilapidated house with Su Wanwan. The moment we pushed the door open, a scent mixed with dust and mold rushed toward us, and we subconsciously frowned. Walking inside, we discovered that this was actually a small shop. The shelves were toppled over, goods were scattered all over the floor, most of them spoiled, the corners were covered in cobwebs, and the floor was covered in a thick layer of dust. After a careful search, we found a few boxes of bottled water in the corner of the shelves, as well as a small portion of dry food like biscuits and bread. Su Wanwan picked up a pack of biscuits, checked it carefully, and turned to me. Brother Wu Di, these things look like they can still be eaten. Although the packaging is broken, there are no obvious signs of mold. I glanced at the worn packaging and then swept over the blurry production date on the food bag. I shook my head gently, my tone flat but firm. Forget it, we're not short of these. There's no need to take the risk. We checked the room carefully once more, confirmed there were no other usable supplies or any abnormal situations, and then turned to leave the shop and return to the RV. Back inside the RV, I and Su Wanwan briefly told Lin Shi, Su Kursin, and Lin Yu about the situation in the shop, then signaled Xiaoxi to continue moving forward. I sat back in the driver's seat and opened the communication channel again. Through previous observations, I had already figured out the overall situation for the day. All survivors were encountering abandoned buildings on the side of the road, and there were more or less supplies hidden inside, with no other anomalies for the time being. I didn't care about these abandoned buildings or conventional supplies. I was more concerned about whether there was any other useful information in the communication channel or special supplies that could meet my needs. But after watching for a long time, I still didn't find any valuable information. Finally, I simply closed the communication channel and turned to check the trading channel carefully. The content in the trading channel was clear at a glance. All the items listed by everyone were exclusively food and water, while what everyone desperately needed were fuel and various blueprints. After checking carefully, I felt a bit disappointed. I had been hoping to find blueprint-type supplies, and there wasn't even a trace of special materials like quantum primordial matter. Why is there no fog near any of the buildings? I closed the system interface, leaned back in the driver's seat, frowned, and muttered to myself. I pondered for a long time, but my mind remained a blank, with no clue. The RV didn't stop and continued to move slowly through the thick fog, the scene outside the window remaining blurry. At 10:30 a.m., the center console screen suddenly lit up, and Xiaoxi's prompt popped up. Commander, a building and vehicle signal have been detected 1,000 meters ahead. Biological activity signals have also been detected. I, who had been a bit sluggish, instantly perked up and ordered immediately. Xiaoxi, turn off all sound in the car and park after approaching. Received, Commander. As the movie sound in the car suddenly disappeared, Lin Shi, Su Wanwan, Su Kursin, and Lin Yu, who had been focused on the movie, reacted immediately. Lin Shi stood up first, walked quickly to the driver's cabin, and asked softly, Brother Wu Di, did something happen? Su Kursin and Lin Yu followed closely behind, their eyes full of confusion. while Su Wanwan looked vigilant, her gaze fixed on the center console screen. There might be other survivors ahead. I pointed to the vehicle signal on the center console screen and said. The RV slowed down and finally came to a steady stop on the side of the road. They looked out through the car window and saw a gas station standing on the edge of the road, with a vehicle parked next to it that looked similar to our RV. At the same time, the radar interface on the center console screen clearly showed 3 red dots, 2 inside the gas station and the other outside. Immediately after, the center console screen automatically popped up detailed information about the monster. Mirage Beast. Appearance. When stationary, it can perfectly mimic common objects in the environment, blending seamlessly with its surroundings, making it difficult to distinguish with the naked eye. Once activated, its mimicked hard shell will peel off inch by inch like cracked pottery, exposing a moist, translucent, gelatinous body inside. Its limbs seep out from the cracks like liquid, rapidly extending into several tentacles with suction cups. Attack method. Skilled at using vocal mimicry to imitate various sounds to lure prey closer. Its tentacles will wrap around the prey's limbs, and the acidic mucus secreted by the suction cups can rapidly corrode clothing and skin. Traits. Vision is completely degenerated, relying on extremely sensitive hearing and vibration perception. In its mimetic state, its metabolism is extremely low, making it difficult for conventional radar to distinguish it from the environment. Weaknesses. Clumsy movements when mobile, a fragile body. After reading the information on the Mirage Beast, Lin Yu spoke first, her eyes filled with confusion and worry. Brother Wu Di, there's nothing out there. This mimicry ability is just too powerful, isn't it? We can't just go around knocking on everything to find where it is, right? Su Kursen stared at the Mirage Beast's description on the screen, her expression strange as she muttered, a tentacle monster, and it even does bondage. Lin Shi, Su Wanwan, and Lin Yu, who were nearby, all turned to look at her in unison, their eyes filled with a mix of surprise and helplessness. Noticing their gazes, Su Kursen felt a bit embarrassed and quickly waved her hands to explain. Why are you all looking at me? I meant that this monster is disgusting. Let me go down there in a bit. I'll take it out with one arrow. The atmosphere, which had been quite tense and heavy, lightened up significantly thanks to Su Kursen's interjection, and the solemnity on the others' faces dissipated a little. Listening to their conversation, I remained calm. After a moment of contemplation, I said, let's go down and take a look. As soon as I finished speaking, I noticed the looks from Lin Shi and the others. It was clear they all wanted to come along. I shook my head gently, my tone decisive. Too many people will only make us a bigger target. Su Kursen, you come down with me. Su Kursen's eyes lit up and she immediately agreed, though she couldn't help but add. Boss, I'll go down with you. But I have to make it clear, I'm really not interested in tentacle monsters. I'm just curious. I ignored her defense, raised my hand to open my personal space, and took out my Tang Dao, gripping it firmly. On the other side, seeing this, Su Kursen quickly drew her cloud-piercing bow and knocked an arrow, her expression instantly turning sharp. I stepped out of the RV first, my gaze sweeping across the surrounding fog. Su Kursen followed closely behind, bow drawn and arrow knocked, vigilantly observing the area around the gas station. She turned to me and asked in a low voice, Boss, should we check that RV first or find the Mirage Beast? Or should I fire a few arrows first? I shook my head slightly. I knew what she was thinking. The cloud-piercing bow in her hand had a built-in 1-meter range lock-on function. I said slowly, no rush, wait a moment. Just as I stepped out, I caught the faint aura of the Mirage Beast with my keen perception. At the same time, the subtle noises coming from inside the gas station didn't escape my ears, the sound of clothing rustling and low-voiced conversation. Clearly, there was more than just a monster inside. Within seconds, the mottled, rusted iron door of the gas station creaked open, and 2 figures slowly emerged, dragging their feet, but carrying a hint of caution. The man in front was in his early 30s, short and stocky with a fleshy face and a prominent scar on his left cheek. He held a rifle firmly in his hands. The man following him was thin and sallow-faced with sunken eye sockets. He also carried a rifle, the muzzle pointed slightly downward, maintaining a state of readiness. I recognized the weapons in their hands as the AK-74 assault rifles I had seen previously in the safe zone. As soon as the two stepped out of the door, Sue Curson tensed up. She raised her bow abruptly, aiming the arrowhead precisely at the pair, and hissed coldly, "Boss, there are people." The stocky man and the thin man opposite us first landed their eyes on me and Sue Curson, then swept their gaze over the pristine RV behind us, a flash of imperceptible greed crossing their eyes. When they saw the cold glint of the Tang Dao in my hand and the taut bow in Sue Curson's, the greed on their faces vanished instantly, replaced by a fleeting, strange expression before they put on friendly masks. The stocky man was the first to drop his guard, slowly lowering his AK-74, though he kept it close to his body. His voice was raspy as he spoke with deliberate warmth. "Friends, don't be agitated. We're survivors too, not bad people. We just found this gas station and wanted to see if there were any supplies or fuel." I kept my fingers on the Tang Dao, my expression unchanged, and asked in a flat, emotionless tone, "Besides supplies, did you find anything else here?" I had been curious all along why this ordinary building could withstand the erosion of the fog. The thin man quickly chimed in with a fawning smile. "There are quite a few supplies inside. A few cases of mineral water, some compressed biscuits, bread, and a small amount of fuel. We just managed to find them. Looking at your gear, you aren't ordinary survivors either. If you don't mind, we can share some with you. We're all just trying to survive in this apocalypse. Helping each other out is only right." The stocky man echoed this, his gaze lingering on Sue Curson with a flirtatious tone. "That's right. We have to help each other to survive. Miss, where are you from? Maybe we're even from the same hometown." Sue Curson frowned, her vigilance intensifying. Her tone was icy and sharp. "My boss asked if you found anything else. Don't talk nonsense, answer truthfully." The friendliness on the stocky man's face vanished instantly, choked off by Sue Curson's toughness. He then revealed an ambiguous smirk, not even looking at me, and stepped forward, raising his AK-74 slightly with a threatening tone. "Don't be so aggressive, miss. We're kind enough to share supplies, and you're putting on airs. Why not join us? We have guns and supplies. It's much better than following him." The thin man immediately joined in with a lewd laugh, staring at Sue Curson with a vulgar gaze, his tone full of mockery and certainty. "Exactly. He only has a broken blade. What can he protect you with? Follow us. We have guns and supplies. It's better than dying with him." The two were certain that by holding AK-74s, they could completely manipulate me and Sue Curson. In their eyes, no matter how powerful cold weapons were, they couldn't beat the speed of a bullet. I remained calm, though a flash of doubt crossed my mind. With their intelligence and character, how had they survived until now? Sue Curson, however, was completely enraged. Her cheeks flushed red, and she pulled the bowstring even tighter, her fingertips trembling slightly. She was clearly on the verge of exploding. She was certain that with her cloud-piercing bow, she could shoot them both dead before they could pull their triggers. Just as Sue Curson was about to act, the pile of seemingly chaotic building debris to the right of where the men stood suddenly moved. Scattered bricks and concrete blocks slid away, and a translucent, gelatinous body seeped out from the wreckage. Several tentacles covered in suction cups surged forward, violently wrapping around the thin man closest to it. Before the thin man could react, he was tightly bound by the tentacles. The acidic mucus secreted by the suction cups instantly corroded his clothing, and a harsh sizzling sound accompanied his screams. The AK-74 in his hand clattered to the ground. The stocky man was frozen stiff by this sudden turn of events, his face turning as pale as paper, and he instinctively took a step back. But he quickly regained his senses, violently raised his AK-74, his eyes turning extremely fierce. Without a moment's hesitation, he aimed directly at the thin man being held by the Mirage Beast and pulled the trigger frantically. Bang! 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 The dull sound of gunfire exploded in the fog, its high-penetrating power instantly shattering the surrounding silence. The dense hail of bullets not only struck the Mirage Beast wrapping around the thin man, but inevitably hit the thin man himself. Blood sprayed out instantly, staining the gravel on the ground red. The Mirage Beast's translucent body was riddled with holes, and sticky, Ink green fluid splashed everywhere. After struggling a few times, it went completely still. The stocky man panted heavily, his face covered in splashed blood and the Mirage Beast's fluids. The previous mask of friendliness had completely faded, leaving only madness and ruthlessness in his eyes. He slowly turned his head, aiming his AK-74 directly at me and Su Kursin, his tone fierce and violent. "Stupid bitch, don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink. My brother is gone, so you have to take his place. Get over here now, or I'll shoot." The anger in Su Kursin's heart could no longer be contained. Her fingers gripped the bowstring tightly, and she was about to act when I gently pressed down on her shoulder. I shook my head slightly, signaling her to stay calm, then looked at the stocky man, my expression calm and ripple-free. "We have no interest in tangling with you. We just want to know, did you find anything unusual inside the gas station?" "Unusual? I think you're the one who's unusual." The stocky man was completely enraged by my composure and cursed. "Fuck you. I'm going to kill you first today." After cursing, he pulled the trigger again, and bullets whistled toward us. Just as the bullets were about to hit us, I moved slightly, and the Tang Dao in my hand deflected all the bullets with the precision of silver lightning. The bullets were knocked away, slamming heavily into the nearby wall and sending debris flying. The stocky man's pupils contracted, his face filled with disbelief, as if he had seen a ghost. "Oh, how is this possible? What the hell are you? You're not human at all." Fear instantly swept over the stocky man. He no longer had his previous arrogance and turned to run wildly toward the RV parked on the side of the road, wanting only to escape this terrifying place as quickly as possible. At this moment, Su Kursin, standing behind me, was still immersed in shock. She had guessed that I was powerful. After all, even the physiques of Su Wanwan and the others far exceeded ordinary people, but she had never seen such an absurd scene. Blocking bullets with a bare-handed blade was exactly like something out of a movie, no? Even more absurd than a movie. While she was still stunned, she saw the sprinting stocky man suddenly collapse to the ground, a cold glinting Tang Dao, the very weapon I had been holding, embedded in his back. Let's go inside and take a look." My voice sounded slowly, pulling Su Kursin back to reality. She nodded quickly and followed closely behind me as we walked toward the interior of the gas station. We searched the gas station carefully, but the shelves were empty, and the floor was littered with packaging scraps. Clearly, the supplies here had long been looted by the stocky man and the thin man, and nothing useful remained. As we exited the gas station, passing the thin man's corpse, Su Kursin bent down first to pick up the AK-74 assault rifle that had fallen to the side. She reached out to touch the Mirage Beast's corpse, muttering, "Can't let this go to waste." But as soon as her fingertips touched the body, she frowned and pulled her hand back, a look of disappointment on her face. I looked at her, a hint of a smile in my eyes. Noticing my gaze, she quickly explained, "Boss, you aren't looking at me like that, are you? I was just checking to see if this tentacle monster..." "Uffed. No. I was checking to see if this tentacle monster could be dismantled." She added at the end, "Good thing it can't be dismantled. I wouldn't be able to eat it even if I had to." "All right, stop messing around." I shook my head helplessly. "Let's go check that RV." Upon hearing this, Su Kursin's spirits lifted and her eyes brightened. "Boss, this is my specialty." As soon as she finished speaking, she ran quickly toward the ownerless RV on the side of the road. Watching her energetic back, I sighed helplessly and followed slowly. Just as I reached the door of the RV, I heard Su Kursin's exclamation, "Boss, why is it so trashed in here?" I followed Su Kursin into the ownerless RV. As soon as I crossed the threshold, I understood the reason for her exclamation. The trashed state she referred to wasn't that the vehicle was damaged beyond use, but that the interior was far more cluttered than imagined. The basic infrastructure of the RV was complete, but the entire interior space was packed to the brim and in total disarray. The floor was littered with crumpled packaging bags, empty mineral water bottles, and a few dusty old clothes. In the corner, several bulging burlap sacks were piled up, filled with all sorts of miscellaneous supplies and some old items that looked like they had been scavenged from nearby abandoned buildings. I frowned, my gaze quickly sweeping across every corner of the vehicle, and said to Su Kursin, who was standing on tiptoe to inspect the storage cabinets. Don't just stand there in awe. Look for anything of value. Let's make this quick. Hearing this, Sue Curson immediately put away her surprise, nodded, and responded with great enthusiasm. You got it, boss. With that, she took the lead, bending down to push aside the clutter and carefully rummaging through the sacks and cabinets, not missing any corner where supplies might be hidden. We searched the RV carefully, but the results were unsatisfactory. Most of the supplies were useless junk, and there was nothing of real value. I wasn't surprised by this. I knew that any items of real value would likely be in the two men's personal spaces. Just as I was about to tell Sue Curson to stop searching and leave, I caught a glimpse of her quickly stuffing several packages of food with intact packaging into her own personal space. I said helplessly, "Don't bother with the trash. It just takes up space and isn't useful." Sue Curson explained without even looking up. "Boss, I know. I'm not just grabbing anything. I'm only taking supplies that can be exchanged for points and useful things from supply crates. These aren't trash." As she spoke, her hands didn't stop for a second, and she continued to count the supplies. "Boss, don't say that. These two actually had some stuff. 10 cartons of cigarettes, 10 self-heating meals, 50 packs of compressed biscuits, and 4 cases of mineral water, all intact." She completely failed to notice the increasingly helpless expression on my face. I stood to the side and finally couldn't help but interrupt her. "Stop counting. Finish up quickly. We need to head back." Sue Curson's hands kept moving as she replied casually. "Boss, you're a well-fed man who doesn't know the hunger of the starving. You don't know how miserable I was before. Sometimes I couldn't even get one full meal a day. These supplies might not be much in your eyes, but to me, every single one is a treasure. Besides, even if these are useless, I can trade them for arrows later. It's better than wasting them." Looking at Sue Curson now, the playfulness had faded, leaving only an extreme sense of cherishing for the supplies. Remembering how she had gripped her bowstring earlier and refused to back down, my heart softened, and I felt a sense of pity. Her obsession with supplies wasn't greed, but a desperate need to survive, a stubbornness to hide her vulnerability and anxiety. Perhaps she just found a sense of security in these small, fragmented supplies. Just as I was lost in thought, Sue Curson suddenly stopped and looked up at me, a look of difficulty on her face. "Boss, my space is full. I can't fit the rest of these supplies. Can you help me store them?" As she spoke, she pointed to the remaining cases of mineral water and compressed biscuits, her eyes full of expectation. Then, Sue Curson noticed the way I was looking at her. She was stunned, instinctively looking down at herself, touching her cheeks, and tugging at her clothes. Finding nothing unusual, she asked with some confusion, "Why are you looking at me, boss? Is there something on my face?" As soon as she finished speaking, she seemed to think of something. A mischievous smirk appeared on her face, and with a playful glint in her eyes, she leaned closer to me and whispered, "Oh, I get it, boss. You aren't craving me, are you?" If she and the others agree, I don't have any objections. She even blinked, looking as if she were waiting for a response. I looked at her, sighed helplessly, and ignored her teasing. I stepped forward, reached out, and collected the remaining supplies into my own space, then turned and walked toward the door, leaving behind a faint remark. "Get out quickly. I'm going to dismantle this vehicle." Seeing that I didn't take the bait and instead turned to leave, the mischievous smirk on Sue Curson's face faded instantly. She breathed a quiet sigh of relief. That teasing remark was both a sincere probe and a deliberate show of nonchalance, and even more, a stubborn refusal to let me see her vulnerable side. She could only use jokes to mask the awkwardness in her heart, and while she breathed a sigh of relief, she pretended to be indifferent. We both stepped out of the vehicle. I touched the RV, and as it dismantled and disappeared, I casually collected the vehicle core. At this moment, Sue Curson was looking down, counting the supplies in her space with a satisfied smile, seemingly having completely forgotten that before joining this team, she had asked me for a vehicle of her own, and I, too, seemed to have forgotten that I had once promised to find her a suitable vehicle. Without further words, we walked one after the other toward our own RV. Back inside the RV, Lin Shi and the others immediately gathered around. Lin Yu rushed to my side. grabbing my clothes to check me over. Brother Wu Di, are you okay? We heard the gunshots clearly from inside the car, and my sister wouldn't let me go down. Lin Shi and Su Wanwan didn't speak, but watched me with eyes full of worry. Seeing this, Su Kurson immediately slumped her face, put her hands on her hips, and shouted, Hey, hey, hey! You only have eyes for the boss, right? Can't you show some concern for a weak girl like me? I was on the front lines too, amidst the hail of bullets. She pouted. Besides, the boss can even block bullets. What are you worried about? What could possibly happen to him? I'm fine, don't worry, I replied simply, then instructed the heir. Shao Shi, continue forward. Received, Commander. The RV started up, slowly pulling away from the gas station and continuing deeper into the fog. Inside the cabin, Su Kurson pulled Lin Yu and Su Wanwan aside, vividly recounting the events at the gas station, from the Mirage Beast's ambush and the stocky man's frantic shooting to the scene of me blocking bullets with my blade, speaking with great animation. The morning's journey was calm, with no unexpected situations. After a simple lunch, we gradually noticed something abnormal. All sounds from the outside world had quietly vanished. The cries of relatives and calls for help that could be heard in the morning were now gone, and the entire world had fallen into an eerie silence. I sat in the driver's seat, my gaze falling on the constantly refreshing regional chat channel. WTF? Has anyone noticed that things are getting weirder? The illusions are getting more and more absurd. A straight road appeared in front of me, and I only realized it was a cliff after driving into it. I almost drove myself and the car straight off. I just saw a building marked as a supply point on the side of the road, and only realized it was all an illusion after driving over. A reminder to everyone. Find an abandoned building, clear out the monsters inside, and stay put. You won't trigger any illusions. Has anyone noticed the big shot at the top of the leaderboard? His vehicle points haven't moved in 2 days. Damn it, my radar isn't working either. These illusions are too ridiculous. Trading weapons, food, and water for basic materials. Looking to buy fuel. Does anyone have medicine? Looking to buy medicine. My companion is injured. Buying talent fragments. 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 I advise everyone, if you encounter an abandoned building today, don't move. Your life is the most important thing. At this moment, Lin Yu, sitting in the passenger seat, turned her head to look at my tense profile and whispered, Brother Wu Di, we have Shao Shi and the radar, so these illusions aren't a threat to us at all. Is it safe today? Yet, there was no trace of relaxation on my face. My brows were furrowed, and a hint of gravity lingered in my eyes. For a team of 5, we should logically have encountered more crises, but this current calm was unnervingly abnormal. Behind extreme silence often hides the most lethal danger. The afternoon's journey had been unusually smooth. Aside from the occasional illusions along the way, we hadn't encountered any special situations. It was calm to the point of feeling unreal. These illusions were indistinguishable to the naked eye, appearing identical to real scenery. However, on Shao Shi's vehicle radar, the corresponding locations were completely empty, with no signal feedback whatsoever. By 1600 hours, I suddenly sensed something was wrong. The fog outside had begun to expand again. Where I could previously see about 10 meters ahead, visibility had now dropped to less than 10 meters, with our line of sight tightly shrouded by the thick mist. Shao Shi, check for any abnormalities. The moment the words left my lips, my heart sank. I clearly felt that my own voice had become strange, muffled and distorted, not at all like my usual tone. Commander, the fog is continuously closing in. Shao Shi's voice came through, also sounding weak and hoarse. Before I could ponder the reason, her alert sounded again. Commander, a building has been detected 1,000 meters ahead. Shall we approach and park? Approach and park. Received, Commander. I turned my head and realized that Lin Shi and the others had gathered around at some point, their faces filled with confusion. Lin Yu spoke first, her tone full of bewilderment. Brother Wu Di, why are you and Shao Shi speaking so quietly? As soon as she spoke, she froze. She clearly felt her voice was at a normal volume, yet it sounded exceptionally faint to her own ears. I understood immediately. She had also noticed something was wrong. I turned to look at Lin Shi and the others, saying in a deep voice, "The situation is not right. Everyone, stay alert." Only then did they notice that Xiaoxi had slowly brought the RV to a stop. We all looked out of the vehicle, and in the mist, the outline of a building vaguely emerged. It appeared to be an abandoned convenience store. I quickly checked the center console screen. The radar scanning area was completely clean, with no red dots indicating biological life. Clearly, there were no signs of abnormal monster activity nearby. Recalling what had been said on the communication channel, I turned to the group and raised my voice. "Let's go down and take a look together." Su Kurson frowned, shouting blankly, "Huh? Boss, what did you say? Speak up. I can't hear you." I stood up, opened the RV door, and signaled for Lin Shi and the others to disembark. We stepped out one by one. I pointed toward the abandoned convenience store by the road and led the way, with the other four following closely behind. Upon reaching the entrance, I pushed open the ajar glass door, the hinges emitting a harsh, grating sound. As we stepped inside, we immediately noticed that the sounds around us had become clear again. The muffled sensation from outside the vehicle vanished completely, and we could hear each other's breathing and footsteps clearly. Su Wanwan spoke first, her tone tinged with doubt. "Brother Wu Di, I checked the communication channel, and no one else seems to have encountered a situation like ours." The others nodded silently in agreement. Su Kurson frowned, complaining with a hint of helplessness. "Boss, is this special treatment for the strong? Every disaster we encounter is different from everyone else's." Lin Shi analyzed calmly. "Brother Wu Di, we have the radar for support, so the fog doesn't affect us much, but not being able to hear anything just now was truly dangerous. If a sudden situation occurred, we wouldn't have been able to react in time and would have easily been caught off guard." I nodded slowly, agreeing with Lin Shi. The fog itself wasn't scary, as we had the radar to avoid danger, but the loss of hearing was a fatal hidden threat. I fell silent for a moment, my gaze sweeping over the interior of the store. Just then, Lin Yu tugged on Lin Shi's sleeve and suggested, "These buildings aren't affected, so why don't we just stay here? We haven't seen anyone find a supply crate today anyway." Lin Yu's words suddenly enlightened me. Upon reflection, she was right. We had plenty of supplies and no need to risk further searching. The fog outside was thick, and our hearing was compromised. Continuing to travel would only increase the danger. Instead of pushing forward, it would be better to rest here in this convenience store. Having made up my mind, I looked at the group. "Let's tidy this place up. We'll spend the night here." "You got it, boss." Su Kurson replied immediately. No sooner had she spoken than she began rummaging through the store, quickly finding a dilapidated wooden stool. She wiped the dust off with her sleeve and hurried to place it in front of me. "You sit and stay put. I'll handle the cleaning." Lin Shi, Su Wanwan, and Lin Yu stood to the side, watching Su Kurson's sycophantic behavior, and exchanged helpless glances, shaking their heads slightly. Su Kurson didn't care at all and turned to start clearing the debris in the store. Watching her busy figure, I smiled helplessly. "Let's clean up together." It didn't take long for us to clear a clean space in a corner of the convenience store. Once settled, we sat in a circle, the previous tension dissipating, and the atmosphere became much more relaxed. Lin Yu suddenly looked at Lin Shi, her tone full of anticipation. "Sister, how about we have hot pot here today?" Lin Shi and Su Wanwan's eyes lit up at the suggestion, and they nodded in agreement. Su Kurson was instantly energized, swallowing subconsciously. Yes, yes. Having a hot pot here would be so atmospheric. It would be pure bliss. Seeing her impatient expression, I said helplessly, "Is it really that big of a deal?" Su Kurson looked aggrieved and quickly defended herself. "Boss, I've been wanting hot pot for a long time. I just didn't have the nerve to ask. Besides, compared to other survivors, don't you think it's a huge achievement that we have the conditions to do this?" After saying this, Su Kurson stood up and grabbed Lin Yu's hand. "Little Yu, let's go to the vehicle and bring the ingredients over." Lin Yu's eyes brightened, and she nodded quickly, subconsciously glancing at me. Seeing me give a slight nod, she grabbed Su Kurson and hurried toward the RV. Lin Shi and Su Wanwan exchanged a look and stood up as well. "Brother Wu Di, Sister Wanwan, and I will go help tidy up too." I waved my hand. Go ahead, go ahead." Stay safe. They acknowledged and walked toward the RV. Sitting on the wooden stool, I watched their retreating figures and let out a soft sigh. After a long journey filled with danger, this rare moment of peace was a much-needed breather for everyone. An hour later, the open space in the abandoned convenience store was warm and cozy. We sat in a circle around a fire made from wood salvaged from the store, the flames dancing. A makeshift rack held a pot above the fire, the broth bubbling and fragrant. Vegetables and meat were neatly arranged around the pot, creating a remarkably warm atmosphere. After finishing the hot pot and cleaning up, Sue Curson slumped onto the floor, clutching her round belly with both hands, sighing with satisfaction. This taste, it's pure happiness. Lin Yu sat nearby, smiling. Sister Sue, next time you want to eat something, just ask my sister to make it. There's nothing she can't cook. Before Lin she could speak, Sue Curson chimed in. I wouldn't dare. She is the boss's personal chef. I wouldn't dream of ordering her around. I didn't pay attention to Sue Curson's teasing, my gaze fixed on the dancing charcoal fire, my expression calm. Soon, the others noticed my gaze and looked over as well. Lin Shi's eyes lit up, and she asked tentatively, Brother Wu Di, is this charcoal? I nodded slowly. I'm not sure either. Theoretically, this is charcoal, but I don't know if the system will recognize it. No sooner had I spoken than I ignored the heat of the fire, reached in, and pulled out a piece of charcoal that hadn't fully burned and was still glowing with embers, casually storing it in my personal space. Seeing the newly added Charcoal X1 unit on the system interface, I curled my lips into a smile and said, All right, we have work to do. Take apart everything in here that can be dismantled. Let's prepare plenty of charcoal today. Sue Curson immediately wailed. Boss, I'm so full. It's not convenient right now. Despite her words, she slowly stood up and joined Lin Shi, Lin Yu, and Su Wanwan in rummaging through the old convenience store, dismantling all the wood and boards they could find and stacking them neatly by the fire. After the work was done, we sat back down around the fire. In the corner of the store, the charcoal glowed, reddening our faces and casting flickering shadows on the walls. The crackling of the fire intertwined with the sound of the mist outside, and as we sat or leaned, our figures were stretched long by the firelight. No one spoke, and silence spread. Everyone seemed to be lost in their own thoughts, with hidden emotions lingering in their eyes. Lin Yu leaned against Lin Shi and broke the silence, her voice filled with youthful confusion. Sister, how long will days like this last? Can we ever go back to our old lives? Lin Shi reached out and gently stroked Lin Yu's hair, her tone gentle yet firm. Little Yu, don't think too much. With me, Brother Wu Di, Sister Curson, and Sister Wanwan, no matter what happens, we are together. Su Wanwan looked up slightly, her eyes clear and determined. Don't worry, little Yu. With Brother Wu Di here, we will definitely make it through. Su Curson leaned against the wall and waved her hand dismissively. Oh, why think so much? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, with the boss here, he'll handle whatever falls from the sky. Following the boss, we eat well and drink well. What's there to worry about? If other survivors knew how we were living, they'd be green with envy. As her voice faded, we fell into silence again, but this time, the silence held less confusion and more stability. Just then, Su Wanwan suddenly stood up and ran toward the RV. Lin Yu quickly called out to her. Sister Wanwan, where are you going? Su Wanwan didn't look back, her voice drifting over. My talent treasure chest is about to refresh. I can't miss it. We realized then and subconsciously checked the time. Without realizing it, it was almost 1800 hours. A few minutes later, Su Wanwan ran back, holding a blueprint, and handed it to me. Brother Wu Di, it's another space expansion scroll. I took it and looked down. The information on the blueprint was clear. Space expansion scroll, special item, increases vehicle space by 2 square meters upon use. I glanced at it and casually stored the blueprint in my personal space. Sue Curson leaned in, exclaiming, No wonder our RV is so spacious. This is incredible. Lin Yu watched Sue Curson's reaction, couldn't help but giggle, and whispered something into her ear. I didn't pay attention to their banter. My gaze fixed on the various supplies in my personal space, my brows furrowed as I pondered where to use my talent today. After a moment of contemplation, my eyes landed on the anti-corrosion protective suit, blue grade, I had acquired earlier. Anti-corrosion protective suit, blue grade made of Teflon-coated composite fiber. It can resist erosion from strong acids, alkalis, and organic solvents. Service life is affected by environment and maintenance. Protective performance degrades if discoloration, embrittlement, or cracking occurs. Permanently unlocks synthesis recipe upon use. Production requirements: metal block 1, plastic 2, rubber 2. I thought to myself that since I had acquired this item, I might need it later. Scanning the other supplies in my space, I quickly made a decision. I suddenly spoke to Lin Yu. Lin Yu, give me talent amplification. Lin Yu was startled for a moment, then reacted. Ah. Oh, okay. As Lin Yu's talent amplification took effect, I activated my own talent. Ding. Do you wish to select the anti-corrosion protective suit blueprint as the main sacrifice, and the self-priming filtering gas mask blueprint and space expansion scroll as secondary sacrifices? Ding. Talent use successful. Obtained. E03 Exoskeleton Armor Blueprint, Gold Grade. E03 Exoskeleton Armor, Gold Grade features a closed full armor wrap configuration, with an outer layer of composite alloy ceramic armor and an inner layer of shock-absorbing gel. Effectively resists direct rifle fire, fragmentation blasts, and heavy blunt force impacts. The armor joints use a sealed locking structure, ensuring extreme protection while maintaining mobility. Wearing it significantly increases load-bearing capacity and melee explosive power, and includes environmental adaptability. The structure is sturdy and durable. Even if partially damaged, it maintains core protection and basic operation. Some functions require an energy core to activate. Replaceable. Includes 5 square meters of storage space. Permanently unlocks synthesis recipe upon use. Usage requirement: Constitution 20. Production requirements: metal block 30, rubber 10, plastic 10, glass 10, electronic components 50, energy core 1, quantum primordial matter 10. Looking at the newly synthesized blueprint in my hand, a complex expression appeared on my face. For a moment, I couldn't tell if I should laugh or cry. The equipment corresponding to this blueprint was undoubtedly top tier. If crafted according to the specs and then reinforced, it would at least reach red grade. But thinking about how this talent boost was a guaranteed secondary promotion, and then looking at the materials required, I shook my head helplessly and stored the blueprint in my personal space. My current material reserves were far from enough, and I still had to decide where to use the remaining 10 units of quantum primordial matter. Afterward, I fell into deep thought. During the reinforcement, I had specifically added a self-priming filtering gas mask blueprint and a space expansion scroll as sacrifices. I couldn't be sure if the mask blueprint had played a practical role, but the 5 square meters of storage space on the new equipment was likely the effect of the space expansion scroll. Thinking of this, my gaze turned to the remaining blueprints in my personal space, a flicker of clear anticipation in my eyes. Keep hoarding blueprints and materials. Give me time, and I'll be able to produce items equivalent to mythical grade at the very least. I calculated to myself, a smile curling on my lips, my eyes filled with certainty. The others were already used to the changes in my expression after each reinforcement, so no one paid it much mind. Only Sue Curson kept an eye on my movements, and seeing me suddenly smile, she couldn't help but tease. "Boss, there are so many people watching. Don't just giggle to yourself, try to restrain it." I looked at her in astonishment, full of confusion, not understanding what she meant. Sue Curson became even bolder under my gaze and added, "Boss, that smile just now. You look like a total creep. Little Yu is still here, don't scare her." Lin Shi, Su Wanwan, and Lin Yu exchanged smiles, already accustomed to Sue Curson's lack of a filter, and didn't respond, just staying quietly to the side. I shook my head helplessly, not bothering to argue, and turned to look outside the convenience store, my expression gradually becoming grave. I didn't know if anything would happen tonight. Previously in the vehicle, outside sounds couldn't penetrate at all. If a sudden crisis occurred, we would have no reaction time, which left me feeling uneasy. Just then, I remembered the mutant constitution fruit I had reinforced while testing my talent yesterday. I immediately took it out of my personal space and tossed it to Su Kursen. Keep watch tonight. This reward is for you. Su Kursen caught the fruit in a panic. After checking its attributes, her eyes lit up, but then she hesitated. Boss, is it really okay for me to have this? She glanced at Lin Shi and the others. I glanced at her, not expecting her to say such a thing. You're the weakest one. Don't overthink it. Seeing that Lin Shi and the others weren't paying attention to what I had given her, Su Kursen was instantly energized. She jumped up from the floor, rushed to my side, grabbed my arm, and kissed my face, her voice trembling with excitement. Boss, you're too good. I'm yours from now on. I'll go through fire and water for you. I quickly pushed her away and sighed helplessly. I knew Su Kursen was always impulsive, but I hadn't expected her to be so oblivious to the occasion. After Su Kursen returned to her spot, she realized that Lin Shi and the others, who hadn't reacted before, were now staring at her in silence. She felt a chill run down her spine and quickly scratched her head in defense. Couldn't help it. Just couldn't help it. Next time there's a good thing like this, I'll definitely let you go first. Without waiting for their response, she quickly swallowed the mutant constitution fruit in a few bites. I noticed their gazes but pretended not to see, turning instead to open the communication channel to observe the activity there. Before I could look closely, I heard a strange mutter from Su Kursen. Boss, I feel so weird. I'm getting really hot. I looked up immediately to see Su Kursen's face flushing slightly, her body swaying before she collapsed straight to the ground. Lin Yu didn't pay much attention this time, instead muttering, That's what you get for showing off. You can sleep on the floor tonight. At this, Su Wanwan stood up and said, Brother Wu Di, let me take her to the domain space. Wait, you all go back together. I'll stay here. I pondered for a moment. Rather than letting them stay here, it was better for them to return to the domain space. After all, if a crisis occurred that even I couldn't solve, their presence wouldn't be of any help. Lin, she spoke up. Little you go back with Sister Su. She then turned to me, her tone firm. Brother Wu Di, I'll stay here with you. If there's a special situation, I can help warn you. Sister, Lin Yu stopped mid-sentence, hesitated for a moment, and finally stood up, saying to Su Wanwan, Sister Wanwan, I'll go back with you. Su Wanwan looked at me, and seeing my slight nod, she picked up the unconscious Su Kursen and signaled for Lin Yu to follow, heading toward the RV. Watching Su Wanwan carry the unconscious Su Kursen and lead Lin Yu into the RV, the area by the campfire fell silent, leaving only Lin Shi and me. The dancing firelight reflected on our faces, flickering in the dark. For a while, no one spoke, only the faint crackling of the charcoal fire and the distant sound of the wind outside, making the night feel exceptionally quiet. After a moment of silence, Lin Shi spoke first, her voice soft and tinged with indulgence. Brother Wu Di, you know, little you always loved sticking to me back home. She looks lively and outgoing, and everyone thinks she's brave, but she's actually very timid inside. Even the slightest disturbance can make her nervous for a long time. Lin Shi looked at me, reached out to pick up a piece of wood, and gently added it to the fire, continuing. Little you was always getting into trouble. Mom used to nag her about being mischievous, but she would always act stubborn and refuse to admit her mistakes. But at night, she would quietly sneak up to me and whisper that those things were just accidents. At this point, Lin Shi looked toward me and said softly, Brother Wu Di, thank you. If it weren't for you, I don't know what would have become of Xiao Yu and me. My hands, busy collecting charcoal, paused for a moment. I replied, Don't dwell on the past anymore. Lin Shi nodded gently and continued. Sister Su Wanwan is different. She looks calm and cautious, but in reality, she trusts you the most. No matter what happens, she never questions any decision you make. Watching me add firewood and gather charcoal, Lin Shi smiled and added, And Sister Su, although she's usually boisterous, speaks without thinking, and loves to tease you, I feel that even if you try to chase her away now, she wouldn't leave. She laughed after saying this, clearly recalling what Su Kursen was like when she first arrived. I looked up at Lin Shi, a faint arc forming at the corner of my mouth. With her around, things are less dull. We exchanged words back and forth. Most of the time, She was talking about the subtle thoughts of the others, while I occasionally chimed in, adding wood or collecting charcoal. There was no unnecessary formality, just an unspoken rapport. As the night deepened, the fog outside the convenience store remained thick, yet no abnormal movements occurred. The surroundings were so quiet that only the crackling of the campfire and our soft conversation remained. Just like that, we kept watch by the fire, chatting idly until the small hours of the morning. The fire gradually dimmed. I added more wood, but when I turned, I found she leaning against my shoulder, her eyes growing hazy. Clearly unable to fight the sleepiness, she had drifted off. I gently adjusted my posture to make her more comfortable, my gaze remaining vigilant toward the window. The night passed without incident. As the sky turned a pale, fish belly white around 5 in the morning, she slowly opened her eyes. The scent of charcoal lingered in the air. Looking down, she realized she was leaning in my arms and her cheeks flushed instantly. She sat up quickly, eyes darting away, not daring to look at me. Just then, the door of the RV was pushed open. Su Wanwan, Lin Yu, and Su Kursin walked in together, Su Kursin looking full of energy. As soon as Lin Yu entered, she hurried over and said, "Brother Wu Di, the inside of the vehicle has returned to normal. It should be fine now." I nodded slightly, my gaze sweeping past the convenience store. A flash of realization crossed my eyes. The fog outside had receded to about 10 meters. Things had indeed returned to normal. Su Kursin immediately crowded over, patting her chest and shouting exaggeratedly, "Boss, I'm full of energy now. I'm incredibly strong. If we run into danger today, I'll take the lead." As she spoke, she waved her arms, showing off her strength with great effort. Hearing their voices and remembering how she had just been leaning in my arms, She's face grew even hotter. She stood up hurriedly and stammered, I'm going back to cook." With that, she ran back to the RV, afraid that staying another second would reveal her awkwardness. Su Kursin stared at her retreating back, looking suspicious. She turned to me, winking and nudging me. "Boss, what did you do last night? Why is she acting so strange?" Her face was so red and she ran so fast. Before I could speak, she leaned in closer, lowered her voice, and put on an "I understand" expression. "Boss, let me tell you, she is still just a young girl. You can't do anything beastly." Lin Yu and Su Wanwan finally caught on, both looking at me with rather strange expressions. I helplessly rubbed my forehead, stood up, walked over to Su Kursin, and tapped her on the head, my tone filled with slight disdain. "You talk too much. Stop guessing wildly. Go back and pack up. We'll set off after breakfast." Su Kursin rubbed her head, pouted, and followed Lin Yu and Su Wanwan toward the vehicle. After breakfast, the RV started slowly and continued moving forward. I sat in the driver's seat, with Lin Yu in the passenger seat, looking down at the communication channel on her personal panel while occasionally glancing at me. Shi, Su Wanwan, and Su Kursin sat on the sofa in the cabin, with Su Kursin chattering away about how she felt after becoming stronger. Not long after the RV started moving, Lin Yu suddenly spoke up. "Brother Wu Di, everyone in the communication channel is discussing the current situation." I nodded. I had been keeping an eye on the communication channel as well. The messages in the channel were refreshing constantly, most discussing the strange occurrences. "Has anyone smelled it? There seems to be a strange odor in the air. I can't describe it, but it's pungent and makes people feel uncomfortable." I smelled it too. I opened the window to ventilate, and a weird smell drifted in. I closed it immediately, and it's much better now. It was sight and sound before. Is today a smell crisis? Hurry up and find a piece of cloth, soak it in water, and cover your nose and mouth. I've tested it. It works. Has anyone found any supply crates today? How are we supposed to find supplies like this? Are they trying to kill us? Reminder to everyone. Close your windows immediately. Don't open them for ventilation. I smelled it for a while and felt dizzy and nauseous. I don't know if this odor is toxic. Whoever has a gas mask, I'll trade supplies for it. If I don't go out to find supply crates, I'll run out of fuel soon. Are you kidding? I'm inside my vehicle with the windows closed and haven't smelled anything. Are you guys outside? I'm still staying in the abandoned supermarket I found yesterday, and there's no smell at all. I suggest everyone not to continue moving forward today. Just like yesterday, stay inside these abandoned buildings. Sue Curson leaned over at this point and said, Boss, does this mean I won't have a chance to show off today? She was desperate to know just how strong she had become. Looking at the content of the communication channel, I pondered to myself. It was a pity I sacrificed the gas mask blueprint yesterday. After a moment of thought, my gaze fell on my personal space, where the blueprint for the Iguro 3 exoskeleton armor, gold quality, I had obtained from yesterday's enhancement was stored. This armor possessed environmental adaptability. After careful consideration, I chose to use the blueprint to craft it. Ding! E03 exoskeleton armor, crafting complete. I stood up, walked into the cabin, and took the E03 exoskeleton armor out of my personal space. The others were immediately drawn to this peculiar piece of equipment. I examined the armor closely. The entire body was a matte silver gray with sharp, fluid lines. The shoulder armor had a streamlined arc, with fine golden patterns embedded along the edges, glowing faintly under the cabin lights. In the center of the chest plate was a diamond-shaped energy core emitting a faint blue light. The joints of the arm and leg armor were flexible and articulated, with anti-slip textures engraved on the surface. It looked heavy and textured without appearing clumsy, exuding a cold sense of technology and deterrence, almost identical to the mecha from sci-fi films. Lin Yu's eyes lit up with excitement. Wow! Brother Wu Di, is this Iron Man? Can I wear it? Can it fly? Sue Curson reached out to touch it, excited. Boss, is this what you prepared for me to take the lead today? This is so embarrassing. I don't know how to repay you. After saying that, Sue Curson suddenly stood straight, looked at me, and said seriously, Boss, you aren't planning on making me offer myself to you, are you? I ignored Sue Curson's teasing and lightly touched the surface of the armor, searching for the activation mechanism. I slid my finger over the energy core on the chest plate and pressed the golden patterns on the edge of the shoulder armor. A moment later, with a soft click, the chest plate slowly expanded to both sides. I had clearly found the mechanism. Lin Yu could no longer hold back. She grabbed my sleeve and begged repeatedly. Brother Wu Di, let me try it, okay? Let me try it. Seeing her eager anticipation, I nodded in agreement. Lin Yu immediately jumped to the armor and carefully stepped into the open chest plate. Once she stood steady, the armor slowly closed. She tentatively controlled the mecha to walk a few steps in the cabin, her movements still a bit clumsy. After 2 or 3 steps, the armor automatically expanded, and she jumped out with a laugh. Lin Yu's face was full of excitement, her tone jubilant. Brother Wu Di, it's such a strange feeling. It feels like I have to exert my own strength, but at the same time, it feels like my power has increased so much. Sue Curson watched with envy, immediately crowding over, her eyes shining. Boss, do we each get a set? Are we going to wear these when we go out to explore today? Hearing this, Lin Shi and Su Wanwan couldn't hide their curiosity either, both looking at me with sparkling eyes full of anticipation. Facing their burning gazes, I shook my head and said, Today, all of you are going into the domain space. Su Wanwan immediately spoke up. Brother Wu Di, why don't I go with you? I replied with a firm tone. I only have enough materials for 1 set right now. I don't know what we'll encounter next, so for safety, all of you go inside. The others wanted to persuade me further, but Lin Shi quickly pulled Su Wanwan's sleeve and said softly, Okay, Brother Wu Di. If you need us, call us on the team channel anytime. Lin Shi knew clearly that only by them obediently entering the domain space would it be the most beneficial choice for me and everyone else. With that, Lin Shi, Su Wanwan, Lin Yu, and Sue Curson all entered the domain space together, leaving me alone in the cabin. Standing before the exoskeleton armor, I calculated, should I use my talent on this armor? That way, I could at least obtain a red-quality piece of equipment. But after thinking for a while, considering I wasn't sure what dangers I might face today, I decided to wait and see how things developed. Before my thoughts could wander further, Xiaoxi's notification sounded right on time. Commander, a supply crate has been detected. We are approaching. Prepare to stop. I looked up at the center console screen and saw a supply crate clearly displayed not far from the road. After a moment of thought, I stood up, walked to the exoskeleton armor, and began to put it on. The moment I put on the armor, I discovered its magic. Linyu was about 1.7 meters tall, while I was 1.8 meters, yet the armor fit both of us perfectly, as if it had been custom-made for each of us. I tentatively moved my limbs and found that the armor wasn't fully automated. It required me to exert force to move, but when I did, I could clearly feel my strength being amplified, and my movements were not restricted in the slightest. Afterward, I opened the door, stepped out of the RV, quickly collected the supply crate by the roadside, and returned to the vehicle. After taking off the exoskeleton armor, I said to the air, "Xiaoxi, continue forward."